Chapter 449. Seated Dao Debate, Supreme Sect Decree, Annihilate the Xiahou clan. As long as Han is not displeased, Qiun True Immortal said with a smile. Under the circumstances of owing a favor to someone in the Qingyun sect, a generous gift in return is actually quite meaningful. But Lu Changxing and Xiao Xie are good friends, and considering the recent poison removal process, her impression of Lu Changxing was quite favorable, and she felt a degree of fondness towards him. Therefore, she was also willing to be more generous and reciprocate the good deed. Many thanks, True Immortal. Since that's the case, Han will take his leave and rest, Lu Changxing said aloud. Since Chu Qingjia's corpse poison had been largely eliminated, it was not appropriate for him to linger any longer. And also, the poison removal process had been quite draining on the mental spirit. One had to be fully focused to prevent the sword qi from injuring Chu Qingyi. You've worked hard, young friend, Qiun True Immortal nodded. He then turned to a Qingyun Sect Foundation establishment disciple outside and said, Xianfeng, arrange a luxurious guest room for Han. Yes, elder, the disciple called Xianfeng from the Qingyun sect immediately responded upon hearing this. Seeing Lu Changxing in the room for so long, he knew that Lu Changxing must have had some effect on Chu Qingjia's poison. He was a few degrees more courteous towards Lu Changxing, gesturing with an inviting hand, Han Daoist friend, please. Then he led Lu Changxing to a luxurious guest room. This luxurious guest room was only about 30 square meters. But compared to ordinary guest rooms, this room was abundant in spiritual energy. It seemed that the spiritual energy that maintained the operation of the spiritual vessel was also channeled into this room on the third floor, allowing one to meditate and cultivate. Unlike in ordinary guest rooms, where the spiritual energy was sparse. If you wanted to meditate and cultivate, to recover mana, you could only rely on elixir medicines, spirit stones, spiritual wine, spiritual tea, and other means. I wonder how significant this so-called favor is, and whether it's possible to get a qualification to purchase a spirit land from the Qingyun sect? Lu Changxing didn't pay much attention to the surroundings, taking out the jade token that Qiun True Immortal had given him from his storage bag. Regarding the favor owed to the Qingyun sect, the first thing that came to mind was to acquire the qualification to purchase spirit land through the Qingyun sect. In other aspects, he didn't really need to trouble the Qingyun sect for the time being. Later, he'll ask Shiyu about the weight of this favor, thought Lu Changxing, holding the jade token and pondering. He planned to ask Xiao Xie what the jade token represented and how the Qingyun sect might reciprocate. In that way, he could maximize the benefits of the favor. Speaking of which, I hope this spiritual vessel won't need to return to the Qingyun sect first before heading to Jiuxiao Immortal City. Lu Changxing put away the jade token and looked out at the sea of clouds outside the window. If they return to the Qingyun sect and then head to Jiuxiao Immortal City, it might cause a delay of a month or two. However, 5 days later, the spiritual vessel slowly came to a halt. Lu Changxing saw a man and a woman come aboard the spiritual vessel. Are these people from the Qingyun sect? Lu Changxing guessed. The cultivation levels of these two people, one was at the middle stage of foundation establishment, while the other was beyond his perception. Either they had some treasure to conceal their mana, or their strength surpassed foundation establishment. After a long while, he heard a knock at the door. The door opened, and Chu Qingyi was standing outside. Han Daoist friend, Chu Qingyi greeted Lu Changxing with a bow. Although she still appeared weak and disordered in her breathing, her complexion was much improved compared to before. She was dressed in an elegant palace gown and white skirt, her long black hair casually tied into a high ponytail, carrying a sky-blue spirit sword on her back. Her phoenix eyes were narrow and determined, and her whole being was like an unsheathed sharp sword. Qing-yi fairy, Lu Changxing looked at Chu Qingyi before him. He thought to himself that her temperament was somewhat similar to Xiao Xie's usual demeanor, cold and aloof, making her difficult to approach. However, Xiao Xie's temperament lacked this edge and sharpness, and was more noble and pure. Yet this kind of female sword immortal demeanor also gave a stunning beauty to her presence. Han Daoist friend, I will remember your life-saving grace in my heart. If there is anything you need in the future, you may come to the Qingyun sect, Chu Qingyi said to Lu Changxing. Fairy Qingyi is being too polite. If there is an opportunity, Han will certainly visit the Qingyun sect and discuss swordsmanship with Fairy Qingyi, Lu Changxing responded with a smile and a bow. He was also willing to foster relations with such a sect prodigy. After all, every interpersonal relationship could be helpful for the future development of his family. As for other thoughts, to say there were none would naturally be impossible. Such a talented female sword immortal would indeed make a great mother of one's child. But having the relationship with Xiao Siye, he did not feel it was appropriate to make a move on her senior sister. After all, she had a core formation master. If her master found out what he was considering, he really feared a single sword strike would end him. All right, Chu Qingyi, hearing this, showed a hint of joy in her eyes. She wasn't interested in most things, she was only interested in the sword. Previously, when Lu Changxing helped her with the poison, she resonated with the seven luminaries' sword qi, and felt an inexplicable affinity. She wanted to discuss sword Dao with Lu Changxing. But on one hand, her injuries were severe, and she was not in a condition to move around. On the other hand, she didn't know how to initiate the conversation. After all, she wanted to exchange cultivation experiences and insights into the sword Dao, but others might not be willing. Now that Lu Changxing had taken the initiative, she was naturally very pleased. After a brief farewell, Chu Qingyi joined the two people who had just arrived and boarded a small spirit boat, turning into a beam of light, and quickly flew away. Next, the spiritual vessel will officially set sail back. Due to an affair in our sect delaying everyone's journey, upon arrival at Jiuxiao Immortal City, we will refund 30% of the ticket's spirit stones as compensation, and we ask for everyone's understanding. Qiyun True Immortal's voice rang out on the spiritual vessel. This served as a simple explanation for all the passengers. As for this form of compensation, naturally, no one had any complaints. Because even if Qiyun True Immortal and Qingyun sect offered no compensation or explanation, there would be no choice but to hold one's peace. Chapter 450. Seated Dao Debate, Supreme Sect Decree, Annihilate the Xiahou Clan. So, at last, we are setting sail. Upon hearing this voice, Lu Changxing exhaled deeply as he watched the spiritual vessel head back toward Jiuxiao Immortal City. He had thought there would be a delay of a month or two. But at this pace, it was only a delay of 10 days to half a month. He considered that manageable. Straight away, he took out his brush and paper and continued his work on crafting talismans. Half a month later, a spirit boat entered Qingyun sect. Upon Kaiyun Peak, Yun Wanshang saw the spirit boat and immediately transformed into a rainbow streak, shooting out toward it. She had been in seclusion when she learned of her disciple's situation and had come out to wait for Chu Qingji's return. I pay my respects to Kaiyun True Immortal. I pay my respects to Kaiyun True Immortal. The two individuals on the spirit boat quickly bowed their hands in salute upon seeing Yun Wanshang. You have both worked hard. Yun Wanshang nodded. Since the Qingyun sect was too far from where the giant spiritual vessel was located, she had sent the two to go in her stead. She then turned with concern to Chu Qingyi, who looked pale and disordered. Qingyi, how are you faring? Master, I am unharmed, Chu Qingyi said, bowing her hands to her master. As she spoke, she reported, Master, I have fulfilled my duty without disgrace. Based on my investigation of the Xiahou family's ancestral land, the Xiahou family is likely an undercover agent for the Tian Corps sect of Jin Kingdom. There is also a hidden vein below Blackwater Pool, through which the Xiahou family has been nurturing and refining corpses. Furthermore, based on my speculation, there are likely more than one false core immortal in the Xiahou family, Chu Qingyi said, sharing the information she had gathered. Undercover agents of the Heavenly Corpse sect. As I had expected. But I never imagined that the Xiahou family had concealed themselves so deeply, Yun Wanshang said, her beautiful eyes flashing coldly. To think there was a vein beneath Blackwater Pool. No wonder Blackwater Pool, even though originally a low-grade second-rank spirit vein with harsh conditions, was valued by the Xiahou family, who chose to establish roots there and invested heavily in nurturing it. A false core immortal nearby commented upon hearing this. Qingyi, let's go. We will report this matter to the sect leader, Yun Wanshang said, her presence overwhelming as she and Chu Qingyi headed toward Qingyun Grand Hall. She had Chu Qingyi report the affairs of the Xiahou family truthfully to the Qingyun sect leader. The Xiahou family, Heavenly Corpse sect. The sect leader mused aloud. It seems the Xiahou family is indeed one of Heavenly Corpse sect's moles. With the sect hierarch of the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Five Poisons cult leader challenging Shenzhen True Monarch, seeking to invade our Jiang country, various moles from the Heavenly Corpse sect, Five Poisons cult, and Yiming Ghost sect have begun to make their moves, surfacing from the shadows, said the Qingyun sect leader with an authoritative voice and calm dignity. Since the Xiahou family is within our Qingyun sect's territory and has now been exposed, it must be dealt with promptly. Kai Yun's sister, why don't you lead the team to handle this matter? The Qingyun sect leader suggested, looking at Yun Wanshang. It is possible, Yun Wanshang nodded and replied. She then added, however, Qingyi has made great contributions in investigating the Xiahou family this time. After this battle, it should be certain that she will receive her coagulation crystal elixir. Agreed, the sect leader murmured thoughtfully, nodding in agreement. Outside Qingzhou Mountain. On that day, a Qingyun sect disciple descended on a spirit boat. I pay my respects to my senior. The Lu family guards immediately replied with a respectful greeting upon seeing the Qingyun sect disciple. Summon the one in charge of Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. The Qingyun sect disciple commanded, his voice authoritative. Please wait a moment, senior, said the Lu family guard without delay. He promptly sent a message, notifying the family head Lu Miaochang and the old ancestor Lu Yuanzhong. Soon, Lu Miaochang and Lu Yuanzhong rushed over in haste. The Supreme Sect has a decree. The Xiahou family of Blackwater Pool has colluded with the demon path and injured our Qingyun disciples, and now we call upon all families to join in the attack. The Qingyun sect disciple declared, presenting a token and speaking loudly as soon as he saw Lu Yuanzhong. The Xiahou family of Blackwater Pool has colluded with the demon path? Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Miaochang were utterly shocked upon hearing this news. After all, the Xiahou family was a prominent cultivation clan. A family overseen by false core immortals. An entity that they, the Lu family, usually looked up to. But now, with Qingyun sect declaring that the Xiahou family had colluded with the demon path and summoning all families to attack, it became clear they intended to eradicate the Xiahou family entirely. Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain obeys the command. Lu Yuanzhong responded without hesitation, with respect in his voice. These families under the jurisdiction of Qingyun sect typically only had to provide tributes on schedule, and Qingyun sect would not interfere with their affairs. But once there was a command from Qingyun sect, they had to comply unconditionally, without opposition. Not just Qingzhou Mountain. The Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain, the Wugong Ridge Sheng family, the Hundred Birds Lake Bai family, the Ning family of the Stream Mountain, the Zhao family of White Tiger Mountain, and other family powers under Qingyun sect's jurisdiction, all received the order. After all, to destroy the Xiahou family was not a matter of sending a single nascent soul immortal to deal with it and annihilate the entire Xiahou clan. Even a nascent soul immortal could leave something unchecked. Furthermore, to eradicate the Xiahou clan included also dealing with subordinate families, markets under their control, and external disciples, among other things. If all these tasks were to be handled by Qingyun sect alone, it would require a significant temporary reshuffling of forces and disciples which might lead to losses. That's why these family powers within the region had their uses at such times. Chapter 451. Arriving at Jiuxiao Immortal City, meeting Meng Xiaochan again _1 The Qingzhou Grand Hall. The War Council Chamber. Lu Yuanzhong, the Lu family ancestor, was discussing with all the Lu family senior members and elders about the Qingyun sect's campaign against the Xiahou clan. Now that the Supreme Sect had issued an order, their Qingzhou's Lu family must send people to obey the summons and participate in this war. For these family powers, the war, though dangerous, was also an opportunity. As long as they made military contributions, the Qingyun sect would also reward them according to their achievements afterward. Spirit stones, magic artifacts, elixir medicines, Secret cultivation techniques and other rare resources that usually couldn't be purchased could all be obtained in exchange for military contributions. Since that is the case, let's settle on this. In 3 days, Uncle Yunhan, Uncle Yunfei, Yuan Shan, Yuan Hua, Yuan Ling, Miaofeng will accompany me to participate in this battle. Lu Yuanzhong announced decisively. Then, turning to Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaocheng, he said, Yuanding, Miaocheng, you both take care of the family. Although it is said that during the war, all family powers must not engage in conflicts, there's no guarantee that robber cultivators won't take the opportunity to cause trouble. So, during this time, you must all be on alert, increase the patrol frequency of the family, and if necessary, use thunderous methods to suppress any disturbances. Lu Yuanzhong commanded in a deep voice. Yes. As you command. Please rest assured, ancestor. In the hall, numerous figures rose to their feet and respectfully responded to Lu Yuanzhong. Miaoge, do you know where Changxing has gone, and if he can return to oversee the family? After the discussion had ended, Lu Yuanzhong looked towards Lu Miaoge and sent a telepathic inquiry. As the family ancestor, he now had to lead a part of the elders, senior members, and elite forces away from home. This would surely lead to a considerable weakening of the Lu family's internal strength. If Lu Changxing, the second-grade talisman master, were there to oversee things, it would add an extra layer of security. Moreover, having achieved the foundation establishment and being an ancestor, he was naturally not foolish. Through Lu Changsheng's various actions, his children, and his spiritual pets, he had long since realized that Lu Changxing was not as simple as he appeared on the surface. He hid many secrets, and it was very possible that his cultivation level was much higher than just the 7th level of energy refinement. Thus, having Lu Changxing in Qingzhou Mountain to oversee things would make the family much more secure. Ancestor, Changxing has gone out on a matter with a friend and estimates that it will take at least a year before he can return, Lu Miao replied, pursing her lips lightly. She had not expected that just 3 months after Lu Changxing had left, such a situation would arise. However, Lu Changxing had not told her where he was going on this trip. All right. Lu Yunzhong sighed slightly upon hearing this. He knew that Lu Changxing wouldn't be able to come back soon to oversee the family. He then said to Lu Miaoge, Miaoge, for the time being, the affairs of the Red Leaf Valley market will be your responsibility. Yes, ancestor. Lu Miaoge nodded earnestly. With the second elder, Lu Yuanling, also accompanying Lu Yuanzhong on the trip, the responsibility for the Red Leaf Valley market had fallen upon her. After pondering for a moment, Lu Miaoge telepathically conveyed, Ancestor, Changxing has a foundation establishment friend from the Qingyun sect. Before he left, he said if we run into any trouble, I should seek out his friend. So please rest assured, ancestor. Not long ago, Xiaoxia had come to the Red Leaf Valley market to see her daughter, Lu Wangshu. She had also made the acquaintance of this Shiyu fairy. So, to reassure her own ancestor and considering that if the family really faced a great crisis or trouble, she thought of seeking help from this Shiyu fairy. In the bottom layers of the cultivation world, having a relationship with a foundation establishment friend from the Immortal sex was considered a very dependable background to rely on. It could act as a deterrent and solve many problems. A foundation establishment friend from the Qingyun sect? Very good, very good. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuanzhong's eyes immediately showed a hint of pleasant surprise. He had not expected that Lu Changxing would have such a connection. Knowing that even just a visiting foundation establishment cultivator from the Immortal sex could have a certain deterrent effect when visiting Qingzhou Mountain. However, thinking back to the previous battle with the Chen family, when the Chen family's betraying foundation establishment female cultivator was present, Lu Yuanzhong suddenly became curious to ask whether Lu Changxing's friend from the Immortal sex was also a female cultivator. Still, as the family ancestor, he restrained his curiosity and didn't delve into such gossip. 2 months later, we finally arrived. Lu Changxing stood on the deck of the spiritual vessel, overlooking the sea of clouds. He could faintly make out a towering immortal city shrouded in multicolored light below. As the spiritual vessel slowed down, the grandeur of Jiuxiao Immortal City grew larger in Lu Changxing's view, so magnificent that the surrounding mountains seemed like mere hills to set it off. Jiuxiao Immortal City, so this is what an immortal city looks like. No wonder, in the vast Jiang country cultivation realm, with many marketplaces, there are only 3 immortal cities. Lu Changsheng marveled inwardly at the ever-clearer and extremely majestic Jiuxiao Immortal City. This immortal city occupied hundreds of miles, several times larger than the Qingyun market. The surrounding towering mountains seemed to be cleaved by a sword to create spacious and flat roads. On the roads, one could see many beasts of burden and cultivators coming and going as if they were merchant convoys from the secular world. But in the skies above, many cultivators were constantly moving about. Magic artifacts, flying boats, spiritual artifacts, escape lights, all dazzling, indicating that this was not any secular world, but a world of immortals. Foundation establishment great cultivators, rarely seen on a daily basis, were quite common here. From time to time, escape lights from Foundation establishment cultivators could be seen. Half an hour later, the massive spiritual vessel slowly hovered in front of the gate of Jiuxiao Immortal City. Fellow Daoists, we have arrived at Jiuxiao Immortal City, said Qiyun True Immortal as his voice echoed on the spiritual vessel. All the passengers came to the deck, ready to disembark from the spiritual vessel. Han Daoist friend, this is the 30% refund of the boat ticket due to the travel delay. Chapter 452. Arriving at Jiuxiao Immortal City, meeting Meng Xiaochan again at that moment, a Qingyun sect disciple named Xianfeng took out 3 middle-grade spirit stones and handed them to Lu Changxing. 30% of the ticket price. Lu Changxing remembered what Qiyun True Immortal had said earlier, that due to deviation from the course, delaying the journey, 30% of the ticket price would be refunded as compensation. That meant his ride on the spiritual vessel cost him 1,000 spirit stones. However, when Xianxia had given him the ticket earlier, she did not mention anything about spirit stones. This indicated that Xianxia had paid for the spirit stones herself. It made sense too. Even though Xianxia was a core disciple of the Qingyun sect, it wasn't possible to ride the spiritual vessel without paying. Thank you, Daoist Xianfeng. Lu Changsheng accepted the spirit stones. He couldn't help thinking to himself how expensive the ticket actually was. Even a regular cabin ticket cost 1,000 spirit stones. Not to mention a luxury cabin ticket, which must be 3,000 to 4,000 spirit stones. But he also understood that this price was probably just to cover the travel expenses. A vessel like this, traveling from Qingyun Market to Jiuxiao Immortal City, consumed a significant amount of spirit stones. Moreover, through conversations over these days, Lu Changsheng also learned that this spiritual vessel mainly ferried between the Jiuxiao Immortal City for Qingyun sect and Heavenly Sword sect's business or strategic exchanges. Carrying other passengers was just incidental. Daoist Han is too polite. Due to the matter with Chu Qingyi, Xianfeng was very courteous to Lu Changxing. After giving a polite bow, he went to return the spirit stones to the other passengers. Daoist Han, if in the future you wish to return to Qingyun Market, you are welcome to board the spiritual vessel again. At this time, Qiyun True Immortal also came up on deck and, looking towards Lu Changxing with a smile, said, "Thank you, True Immortal." Lu Changxing returned the greeting with a bow. Afterward, he flew down from the spiritual vessel and arrived at the entrance of Jiuxiao Immortal City. As soon as he descended, without the formation's spiritual light from the vessel enveloping him, he felt an intense oppressive force in the air. It was the third-rank great formation of Jiuxiao Immortal City. The rumors say that a third-rank formation having fully connected with the spirit veins and becoming one with them, possesses the capability to create its own domain. Attempting to disturb such a great formation with a single attack or using talismans for breaking prohibitions is hardly effective. Lu Changxing looked at the city walls covered in various rune imprints and glowing with formation light, contemplating inwardly. Because of his family's formation, he had spent a considerable amount of time learning about formations. He knew that once a formation reached the third rank, it underwent a qualitative transformation. It could fully connect with the spirit veins and create its own domain. This not only allowed the locking of spirit veins easily but also the distribution of spiritual energy concentration among different areas. It also meant that the Great Formation had no weak points. Any assault or prohibition-breaking measures would have their power drastically reduced. All attacks would be distributed through this domain by the Great Formation. To such a domain, even the attacks of nascent soul immortals were limited. If a third-rank formation master presided over the Great Formation, maximizing its might, the power would be truly astonishing. Lu Changsheng did not linger. Following the crowd, he entered a side hall at the city gate, registered his information, paid spirit stones, and got his identity token. This immortal city charges only 10 spirit stones annually, which isn't expensive at all. After handling his identity token, Lu Changsheng took the token and entered the immortal city. As soon as he entered the city, he felt a sudden weight on him, a mysterious pressure descending upon him. Is this a flying prohibition? Lu Changsheng's eyebrows knitted slightly. He immediately knew it was the effect of the celestial city formation, preventing Foundation establishment cultivators from flying within the city. In places like Red Leaf Valley Market or Nine Dragons Market, although using artifacts to fly and riding spiritual beasts were prohibited, once one became a Foundation establishment cultivator, they could fly within the marketplace. But Jiuxiao Immortal City's Great Formation directly imposed a flying prohibition, preventing even Foundation establishment cultivators from easily flying within the city. It makes sense, for a city like this with numerous Foundation establishment cultivators, allowing unrestrained flying would greatly affect the order. And with the flying prohibition, if someone caused trouble in the city, facing the enforcement team, escaping would be difficult. Lu Changsheng murmured to himself, growing even more appreciative of the might of the third-rank Great Formation. Without delay, he began to stroll through Jiuxiao Immortal City. Jiuxiao Immortal City was divided into 3 major areas: the Outer City District, Inner City District, and Jiuxiao Mountain. True large shops and businesses were all located in the Inner City District. However, the city's outer district was far more bustling than many marketplaces. Here, Lu Changsheng also spotted several familiar signs. It seemed that these family powers had extended their shops and businesses into Jiuxiao Immortal City. After a brief look around, he headed towards the Inner City District. To make purchases, one must go to the Inner City District. Meanwhile, at the same time, just as Lu Changsheng arrived in Jiuxiao Immortal City, at the base of Jiuxiao Mountain, within a cave abode, a girl dressed in snow-white robes, with delicate features and an ethereal aura, opened her eyes. What's happening? Why do I feel an inexplicable impulsion, an unaccountable palpitation? The girl frowned her beautiful brows and muttered to herself. When cultivators experience a sudden impulse or palpitation, it often signifies that something is about to happen. Xiao-chan. Just then, a beautiful woman walked into the room. The woman was dressed in a well-tailored, tight-fitting black gauze long dress. The dress hugged her curvaceous and enchanting figure, with her shoulders exposed, smooth and fair. It made men naturally want to embrace her shoulders in their arms. Her slender waist accentuated prominent curves that led to a full and ample bosom. Long, straight, and fair legs peeked out slightly under the hem, standing in a pair of slender, heel-stiletto black shoes with a faintly pink sole. Chapter 453. Arriving at Jiuxiao Immortal City, meeting Meng Xiaochan again, she exuded seduction with every fiber of her being, with every gesture and step. Master! Meng Xiaochan looked at the beautiful woman before her and immediately called out. You little girl, I told you to call me mother now. Nangong Meili looked at the girl before her, her lips curving into a charming smile, and pinched her fair and tender face. As if that wasn't enough, her soft, rosy lips kissed Meng Xiaocan's fair and delicate cheek. Mother! Meng Xiaochan smiled sweetly and called out affectionately. On this trip outside with her master, the two had disguised themselves as mother and daughter. Good girl, come here, open your mouth. The beautiful woman sat down beside the bed, her ample buttocks pressed into a bountiful pastry. She pinched a red spirit fruit between her fingers and fed it to Meng Xiaochan. With a gentle smile, she radiated an alluring charm, yet amidst this enticing aura, she did not lose her mature and elegant demeanor. Meng Xiaoqian couldn't help but sigh to herself, her own master was truly a seductress. The allure was irresistible to both men and women alike, difficult for anyone to withstand. She obediently opened her mouth and ate the red spirit fruit. Seeing her disciple's adorable appearance, Nangong Mili let out a soft, coquettish laugh. She picked up another red spirit fruit and placed it into Meng Xiaoqian's mouth. "Come on, good girl, have one more." As she spoke, her fair fingers touched the disciple's red lips, and only after the small mouth and teeth bit down on the spirit fruit in her hand and the little tongue rolled it into her mouth did she gently withdraw her moist finger. "Mother, did you need me for something?" Seeing Nangong Mili holding another spirit fruit, ready to feed her, Meng Xiaoqian immediately asked, "Can't a mother find her good daughter to chat without reason?" The beautiful woman put on a tearful and aggrieved expression, appearing just like a coquettish young girl, pitiful to the point where even steel could turn tender. "Master," Meng Xiaoqian called out, exasperated. At first, when she met her master, the nascent soul immortal maintained a sense of authority in front of her. But as they spent more time together, she discovered her master's playful and capricious nature, finding amusement in teasing her along the way. "All right, down to business. As the sect hierarch and the Heavenly Corpse sect master's big battle with Li Duanquan is about to begin, our side should also make some moves." Nangong Mili's gorgeous face showed a dignified expression. "Which family are we contacting this time?" Meng Xiaoqian asked. She had come to Jiang country with her master, Nangong Mili, to contact the sleeper agents embedded there by their sect. If the Five Poisons cult leader and Heavenly Corpse sect master could repel Jiang Country Cultivation Realms No. 1, Shenzhen True Monarch Li Duanquan, then Jin Kingdom would initiate the Great Battle and invade Jiang Country. At that time, those like them who had already infiltrated the Jiang Country Cultivation Realm would gather their sleeper agents and cooperate with the Jin Kingdom's forces both from within and without. "We've almost contacted everyone we need to. Since we're taking action, naturally we have to target Jiuxiao Immortal City, create chaos in Jiang Country, and strike at the morale of Jiang Country," Nangong Mili said softly, pinching her face. "You mean to act directly against Jiuxiao Immortal City?" Upon hearing this, Meng Xiaoqian's eyes widened, her mouth slightly agape. Although Nangong Mili before her was a nascent soul immortal, Jin Kingdom's three great demonic sects had also dispatched other nascent soul and false core immortals to Jiang Country. But the thought of striking such an immortal city was utterly delusional. After all, Jiuxiao Immortal City also had nascent soul immortals in residence. Moreover, Jiuxiao Immortal City was protected by a third-rank great formation. If a nascent soul immortal skilled in formation were to command it, within the city they would be unrivaled. Unless a nascent soul true lord descended personally. Of course, it's not what you're thinking. You'll know when the time comes. Nangong Mili saw her disciple's expression and guessed her thoughts, pinching her face with a slightly amused air. She then affectionately took Meng Xiaoqian's arm and walked out of the cave dwelling. "Wainer, you're here?" The moment the two stepped out of the cave, a tall and authoritative man with a hint of ferocity in his eyes brightened up and approached them. He looked at Nangong Mili, his imposing demeanor melting away as the ferociousness in his eyes disappeared, leaving only infatuation. "Did you buy the things I asked for?" Nangong Mili looked at the middle-aged man before her with a cold expression, void of charm, and asked in a cool voice. I have bought everything." The middle-aged man pulled out a storage bag and stepped forward eagerly, his face filled with an appeasing look. Not bad." Nangong Mili took the storage bag, glanced at it, and nodded indifferently. Then, continuing to hold Meng Xiaoqian's wrist, she proceeded toward the inner city. "Mother, isn't true Lord Xiang coming with us?" Meng Xiaoqian asked her master. But as soon as she spoke, she saw the middle-aged man looking at Nangong Mili with deep infatuation, keeping his distance from them while following closely. Recalling how Nangong Mili had told true Lord Xiang to maintain a certain distance from them, Meng Xiaoqian hardly knew what to say. A nascent soul immortal, so humble in the presence of her master. The two made their way from Jiuxiao Mountain to the inner city district. Walking down the bustling streets, Meng Xiaochan felt a premonition and looked ahead to a tall, robust middle-aged man with a heroic countenance. For some reason, upon seeing this middle-aged man, her heart fluttered with an inexplicable familiarity. At this moment, Lu Changsheng also seemed to sense something. He turned his head to look in the right front direction. He immediately saw a black-clad beauty and a white-dressed girl walking hand in hand. The beauty was stunning, her body sinuous in a black gauzy dress. Indeed, her entire being exuded an irresistible alluring charm. Even Lu Changsheng, battle-hardened as he was, found the beauty to be exceedingly lovely and enchanting. Chapter 454. Arriving at Jiuxiao Immortal City, meeting Meng Xiaochan again _4 naturally stunning, a peerless charm. However, his gaze first fell upon the white-dressed girl next to the woman in black. The pure and innocent face of this white-dressed girl, along with her ethereal aura, formed a sharp contrast with the voluptuous woman. Her slightly petite figure was also developing nicely, curvy in all the right places. But walking hand in hand with the woman in black, she seemed somewhat slight, not quite as eye-catching. When Lu Changsheng looked towards this girl, for some reason, he felt an inexplicable and familiar sense of wonder. "My dear daughter, what's wrong?" Nangong merely observed Meng Xiaochan suddenly pause in her steps and gaze toward somewhere not too distant, then followed her line of sight with a glance before leaning down slightly and asking softly, "It's nothing." Meng Xiaochan immediately snapped back to reality and shook her head. But in her heart she couldn't help but ponder, who was that person? She had great faith in her own intuition. If she felt familiarity, then she must have met this person before. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't remember having met such an individual before. However, Nangong merely brought her to a courtyard where many were discussing matters, interrupting her train of thought and preventing her from dwelling on it further. Lu Changsheng watched as the woman in black and the girl in white left and was somewhat puzzled. Because having broken through to the Foundation establishment realm, he shouldn't have inexplicable feelings or whims. Could it be the influence of a peach blossom goo? Lu Changsheng's brows furrowed slightly as he queried the peach blossom goo. He wanted to know if the strange and familiar feeling had any connection to the peach blossom goo. After all, aside from the bewildering and mysterious influences of a peach blossom goo, he could think of no other reason. Affection. The peach blossom goo conveyed a thought. It informed Lu Changsheng that this peculiar feeling did not originate from itself, but from another goo. The backlash of the goo in the past. Could it be her? Lu Changsheng, upon receiving the thoughts from the peach blossom goo between his brows, felt somewhat surprised. He immediately realized that the white-dressed girl was Meng Xiaochan, who had once cast a love goo on him that backfired. Who would have thought that after more than 10 years, I would encounter her here? Lu Changsheng's brows lifted, and he let out a light chuckle. No wonder he had felt that inexplicable sense of familiarity just now. As for meeting Meng Xiaochan, he wasn't particularly moved. The battle between the Lu family and the Chen family back then happened to owe much to Meng Xiaochan. Moreover, after the event, Meng Xiaochan had given him 2 Foundation Establishment elixirs and 1 Foundation Establishment spirit object. Thus, in his mind, any debt of gratitude or grievance with Meng Xiaochan was settled. So he harbored no resentment toward Meng Xiaochan. And he didn't dwell on her too much. At most, he wanted to ask Meng Xiaochan about the effects of the goo that he had seized from her. She seemed to glance this way just now, probably due to the love goo, right? But now that I have the misty sky bead masking my aura, I wonder if she can recognize me. Lu Changsheng mused to himself. Meng Xiaochan had disguised herself. If not for the peculiar familiar feeling just now and the hint from the peach blossom goo, he would never guess who she was. Thus, he was curious whether Meng Xiaochan could recognize him upon seeing him. If she did recognize me, would that be considered peach blossom luck? Lu Changsheng stroked his chin, recalling when Meng Xiaochan had departed. She had said she had urgent matters to attend to and couldn't stay by his side, but once those were resolved, she would spend the rest of her life with him. She must have been young then, To have reached the foundation establishment at such an age suggests that her spiritual root talent is above average. If we were to have children, their spiritual root talent would likely be quite exceptional. Lu Changsheng thought to himself. Although in the cultivation world age is not easily discerned by examining bones, and it's difficult to tell one's true age, not everyone in the cultivation world's lower echelon can afford to take elixirs of youth or practice preserving appearance techniques. Therefore, by one's outward appearance, a general estimate of their age can still be made. He remembered when he first encountered Meng Xiaochan, she was at the late stage of energy refinement, disguised as a young man, and later on, always appeared as a young girl. It suggested that she wasn't too old. Later, her ability to achieve foundation establishment on her own indicated a rather impressive spiritual root talent. There's no use counting my chickens before they hatch. And the beautiful woman by her side didn't look simple. Could she possibly be her mother? Lu Changsheng shook his head, deciding not to dwell on it any further. When he had encountered Meng Xiaochan in the past, she was always quite resourceful. The first time, she managed to survive under his talisman treasure, the golden light brick. The second time, if not for the peach blossom goo on his side, he might have fallen into her hands. The third time, she had even become a foundation establishment cultivator. Furthermore, she was able to offer him 2 foundation establishment elixirs and a foundation establishment spirit object. Such generosity was not something many foundation establishment families could afford. It revealed to him that Meng Xiaochan was no ordinary individual. Though he's now at foundation establishment, with methods comparable to those with false cores, his main purpose this time was to purchase goods. There was no need to complicate matters by contemplating taking Meng Xiaochan back for the purpose of bearing children. Moreover, as long as the love goo provided a connection, he and she were bound to unite sooner or later. There was no need to rush. Without delay, Lu Changsheng arrived at an inn, booked a room, altered his appearance with the misty sky bead within the room, changed into a blue magical robe, and headed to the largest merchant house in Jiuxiao Immortal City, the Jiuxiao Merchant House. This trip was all about making major purchases. Even with the misty sky bead in use as a disguise, it still paid to be cautious. Besides, his identity as Han Li was known to some from the Qingyun sect and other passengers aboard the spiritual vessel. Welcome to Jiuxiao Merchant House. May I know if the guest is looking to buy or sell? Upon arriving at Jiuxiao Merchant House, a beautiful female cultivator dressed in a uniformed skirt came forward to greet him. Do you have third-rank talisman making materials? Lu Changsheng asked. Third-rank talisman making materials? The hosting female cultivator showed a hint of surprise upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words. Chapter 455. Arriving at Jiuxiao Immortal City, meeting Meng Xiaochan again _5. The guest jests. Third-rank materials are strategic resources, extremely scarce and seldom sold to the outside, such as third-rank talisman-making materials. Our commerce guild currently does not sell them to outsiders. If you, guest, are a second-tier top-level talisman master, and if you are willing to become a guest elder offering services for our commerce guild, we would have third-rank talisman-making materials available for you. The receptionist cultivator smiled kindly as she spoke. Not for sale to outsiders. Upon hearing this, Lu Changsheng's heart sank slightly, a sense of disappointment washing over him. Before, he had guessed that Jiuxiao Immortal City wouldn't have too many third-rank materials on offer. But he had absolutely not expected that the Jiuxiao Commerce Guild wouldn't sell third-rank talisman-making materials to outsiders at all. However, Lu Changsheng also understood when he thought about it. Materials of this level are precious and rare. Most are used to cultivate their own talisman masters. How could they possibly sell them to outsiders? Moreover, the great immortal sects also monopolize resources in this manner, forcing artisans of a certain level to choose to join a power. Otherwise, limited by material channels, their skills would scarcely advance. Ordinary loose cultivators, of course, would be happy to join a major power and enjoy the benefits. But his current situation didn't allow the convenience of joining the Jiuxiao Commerce Guild. It seems I can only go through Qingyun sect for this. But even entering Qingyun sect, obtaining third-rank materials will not be simple. Lu Changsheng inwardly sighed. I wonder if your guild may have these materials. He took out the list of materials required for crafting the 99 mysterious true strategy and asked. The second-tier auxiliary materials for the 99 mysterious true strategy artifact had already been completely purchased through Nine Dragons Market and Qingyun Commerce Guild. He still lacked 4 main third-rank materials. Please wait, guest. The receptionist said immediately upon hearing this. She took out a jade scroll and began to check the various materials listed for Lu Changsheng. Guest, our guild currently has a piece of dark essence steel and blue lapis goldwood. After a while, the female cultivator took out the jade scroll and spoke to Lu Changsheng. Dark essence steel, blue lapis goldwood. Lu Changsheng's face immediately revealed a joyous expression upon hearing this. He thought it's indeed worthy of a big commerce guild from the Immortal City to have 2 pieces of third-rank materials available at once. And this dark essence steel was even one of the most precious materials for crafting the 99 mysterious true strategy. He had thought that acquiring dark essence steel would be the most troublesome. May I ask the price of these 2 materials? Lu Changsheng inquired. Dark essence steel, 21,000 spirit stones, blue lapis goldwood, 13,000 spirit stones. The receptionist announced the prices. Hiss. Even though Lu Changsheng was quite wealthy, he still couldn't help but gasp at these prices. Because they were indeed expensive. At this rate, just purchasing the artifact 99 Mysterious True Strategy alone would cost him 60 to 70,000 spirit stones. This price had already surpassed that of a spiritual artifact. Agreed, bring me these 2 materials. Lu Changsheng said aloud. Expensive or not, there was no choice. After all, he had come all the way here. Moreover, with the 99 Mysterious True Strategy artifact in hand, the power and techniques he could wield from the 99 mystical talisman scripture through the talisman refinement formation would greatly increase. So, in Lu Changsheng's view, the expense was still worthwhile. Immediately after, the receptionist invited him to a room where an advanced-level receptionist conducted the transaction with him. For materials of third rank, which are expensive and rare, ordinary receptionists did not have the authority to withdraw them from inventory. Does your guild accept spirit talismans? After inspecting the 2 materials and when he was about to pay, Lu Changsheng took out a stack of second-rank talismans and asked. Over the past 3+ months of his visit, he had drawn many second-rank talismans. It was to avoid running short on spirit stones. So now, at the time of payment, he directly took out some talismans to use as a discount off the spirit stones. Second-rank spirit talisman? The advanced receptionist examined the talismans and agreed to purchase them at 60% of the market price. Hearing this, Lu Changsheng used 30 second-rank lower-grade spirit talismans and 10 second-rank middle-grade spirit talismans to discount 10,800 spirit stones. After paying the remaining spirit stones, he left the Jiuxiao Commerce Guild. Then, he inquired about other materials, third-rank talisman-making materials, in the shops of Jiuxiao Immortal City one by one. Jiuxiao Commerce Guild not selling third-rank talisman-making materials to the public didn't mean all shops wouldn't sell them. Furthermore, Lu Changsheng also began to inquire about third-rank spiritual wood, third-rank spiritual blood, and so on. If there were no third-rank talisman-making materials for sale, then he would purchase third-rank spiritual wood and spiritual blood to craft his own talisman paper and spirit ink. After shopping around the Immortal City for 2 days, Lu Changsheng had some gains. He managed to purchase some third-rank talisman-making materials and a few rare alchemy spirit medicines. The materials for the 99 Mysterious True Strategy were only 1 item short of completion. An auction event? At this point, Lu Changsheng learned some news. In a month and a half, there would be a semi-annual small auction event in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Upon hearing this news, he became interested and thought he might attend to see. One reason was, items he needed might appear at the auction. Another was that after the auction ended, there would be a transaction event, allowing cultivators trade amongst themselves. This kind of direct trading often featured rare items. But before that, I need to earn some spirit stones. Lu Changsheng exhaled lightly. The shopping of the past couple of days had nearly depleted the spirit stones he had with him. So naturally, if he wanted to participate in the auction, he needed to prepare some spirit stones. On this trip, he not only purchased a large quantity of talisman materials but also many alchemy materials. These alchemy materials were sufficient for him to craft harmonizing energy elixir, 3 suns elixir, and a myriad of other second-rank elixir medicines. Thus, Lu Changxing decided to spend some time trying out the second-rank alchemy skills he had drawn but had never used before to replenish his storage bag. Chapter 456. The Great Formation of Myriad Corpses and Profound Darkness, Alchemy. _1 Blackwater Pool, Xiahou Family. Boom, boom, boom. The entire Blackwater Pool was enveloped by the Blackwater Profound Wind Formation. Above the formation, gray and black mists converged, resembling a vision of mountains of corpses and seas of blood, with the sounds of ghosts wailing and wolves howling. Around the formation, numerous flying boats blocked off Blackwater Pool such that not even water could escape. Atop these spirit boats, formation patterns twinkled, with a great convergence of spiritual light transforming into thick bolts of lightning that bombarded the Blackwater Profound Wind Formation, causing a tremendous commotion. Not only that, but from all directions, multiple cultivators under the guidance of array masters executed their techniques and manipulated magic artifacts, attacking the weak points of the formation. 2 months ago, Qingyun sect publicly declared the Xiahou family of Blackwater Pool to be aligned with the demon path, calling all forces within its jurisdiction to crusade against the Xiahou clan. In less than a month, all subordinate family forces and marketplace scions affiliated with the Xiahou family encountered strikes, being swept clean. And for the Xiahou clan's main stronghold, Blackwater Pool, Qingyun sect even dispatched nascent soul immortals to lead the crusade. However, to everyone's surprise, the Xiahou family's original clan-protecting Blackwater Profound Wind Formation unexpectedly transformed into the third-rank Blackwater Profound Wind Formation. Even with a nascent soul immortal from Qingyun sect present, they could not break through the formation for a while. Inside Blackwater Pool. Elder, I'm afraid it won't be long before Qingyun sect sets up their formation, uses it to break our formation, affecting the ley lines of our Blackwater Pool, thus breaking through the grand formation, the Xiahou clan leader said to Xiahou Wu with concern. He could clearly see that on several surrounding mountains, Qingyun sect's array masters were setting up their formations. Rest assured, with the elder ancestor securing the formation, unless Qingyun sect brings 2 more nascent soul immortals, they won't be able to easily breach the great formation. Moreover, as long as we drag out the time, once Jin Kingdom makes a move, the Heavenly Corpse sect, 5 Poisons cult, and Yiming Ghost sect will also take action. By then, Qingyun sect will be too busy to care about us, Xiahou Wu said with an indifferent expression, calming his mental spirit. But in his eyes, a trace of worry was revealed. Because all of this was predicated on the assumption that the sect hierarch of the Heavenly Corpse sect and the 5 Poisons cult leader could repel the Shenzhen true monarch Li Duanquan. If Jin Kingdom failed in their invasion, their Xiahou family would become a disposable pawn of little significance. Outside the Great Formation, a massive spiritual vessel, a giant ship, loomed in the sky. On the deck of the spiritual vessel, a peerlessly beautiful woman clad in palace attire stood. Her eyebrows were like distant dais, her eyes deep like autumn waters, her nose high, her lips red and luscious, attractive as a fresh bloom. Her raven-black hair was coiled up into a cloud bun, with a phoenix hairpin slanted across it, exuding an aura of nobility and grace. How much longer until the earth-shaking formation is complete? Yun Wanshang stood with her hands behind her back, high above, her gaze filled with an indescribable coldness, as if looking down upon all beings, surveying Blackwater Pool below. Reporting to Kaiyun True Immortal, we estimate it will take 1 more month for the earth-shaking formation to be completed, an array master replied as he flew onto the spiritual vessel. Gazing at the awe-inspiring beauty, astonishment shone in his eyes as he bowed respectfully and spoke. Make it faster, Yun Wanshang commanded coldly upon hearing this. She radiated an intangible majestic aura that shook one's soul. Yes. The array master shuddered upon hearing her command, answering with a reverent tone. Jiuxiao Immortal City. Inside an inn. Alchemy first requires a pill furnace. As a second-tier top-level alchemist, I can't believe I don't even have a pill furnace. Lu Changxing thought about making a quick profit through alchemy, only to remember that he didn't even own a pill furnace. Alchemy is unlike talisman making, it's very time-consuming. If I use my foundation establishment spirit flame for alchemy, I cannot be distracted and do other things. So, the best approach is to rent an alchemy chamber that has an earth fire for alchemy. This way, I can save money on buying a pill furnace and also make talismans while doing alchemy. Lu Changxing silently concluded and left the inn, preparing to see if there were alchemy chambers for rent in the Immortal City. After all, he was currently short on money and had many pending expenses that required spirit stones. If he spent 20 or 30,000 spirit stones just to temporarily get a pill furnace, it truly wouldn't be worth it. It was completely reasonable to wait until he had the spare money to purchase a good furnace outright. Furthermore, as a top-tier alchemist, he didn't need to constantly watch over the pill furnace like most alchemists. He could engage in other activities while the alchemy process was underway, and even operate several furnaces simultaneously. If he relied solely on his foundation establishment spirit flame for alchemy, he wouldn't be able to divert much attention to other tasks. That's why he opted to rent an alchemy chamber instead. Otherwise, spending the whole day by the furnace was too much of a waste of time. He might as well earn money making talismans. May I know if your esteemed establishment has second-rank pill furnaces and alchemy chambers for rent? After inquiring around briefly, Lu Changxing approached an alchemy workshop and asked, "Second-rank pill furnace and alchemy chamber? What we currently open to the public are merely near second-rank alchemy chambers," the attendant of the workshop replied, shaking her head. "We don't have a second-rank chamber for rent, and pill furnaces are not available for rent externally. If you are a second-rank alchemist and willing to become our guest elder, we are prepared to provide a pill furnace and a second-rank alchemy chamber for your use." Lu Changxing asked 5 or 6 different alchemy workshops and stores. All indicated that they didn't have second-rank chambers for rent. Even in Jiuxiao Immortal City, second-rank alchemists held a status. Such alchemists did not have the need to rent a second-rank alchemy chamber, as they possessed their own alchemy chambers. Chapter 457. The Great Formation of Myriad Corpses and Profound Darkness, Alchemy. And these alchemy workshops and alchemy stores mostly provide second-rank alchemy chambers for their own alchemists and do not lend them out to outsiders. Do I really have to buy a pill furnace and make elixirs at home? In that case, I'd be better off making money through talisman making. After walking out of an alchemy workshop, Lu Changxing shook his head slightly. He had originally thought that with the high profits from alchemy, he would easily make a fortune. However, he didn't expect to be stumped by such a trivial issue. Forget it, this is the last place. If it doesn't work out, I'll put alchemy aside for the time being. When I return, I'll see about setting up an alchemy workshop in the Hongye marketplace, hiring a couple of fire-stoking boys and alchemy apprentices. Lu Changxing gazed at the alchemy pavilion ahead, musing to himself. He then stepped forward and walked in. Inside the store, there was only one girl around 15 or 16 years of age. The girl was dressed in a goose-yellow gown, with a Cher hairstyle, eyes like pools of water, a cute nose, and rosy lips. Propping her fair little hand against her cheek in boredom, her small feet in delicate embroidered shoes swung under the goose-yellow gown. Upon seeing Lu Changxing, she immediately perked up and inquired, "Welcome, may I ask what kind of elixir medicines the customer wishes to purchase? I'd like to ask if you have a second-rank pill furnace and alchemy chamber for rent?" Lu Changxing asked, looking at the girl. "A second-rank pill furnace and alchemy chamber, that's not something we offer to the public." The girl shook her head subconsciously in refusal upon hearing this. Every alchemist dislikes others entering their own alchemy chamber or using their pill furnace. Moreover, lending it out to the public is dangerous, as mishaps such as explosions in the furnace could occur. But as soon as she spoke, she looked at Lu Changxing and asked, "May I know if the customer is a second-rank alchemist? If you are a second-rank alchemist, our store does have a second-rank pill furnace and alchemy chamber available." The girl gazed at Lu Changxing with bright, hopeful eyes. "I'm a second-rank alchemist, but am not currently interested in serving as a guest elder and being an alchemist exclusive to a store," Lu Changxing said with a smile, shaking his head. A couple of the stores he had visited earlier were also willing to provide a second-rank pill furnace and alchemy chamber. But the condition was signing a spiritual contract to become a guest elder or an alchemist exclusive to the store. Although he possessed the misty sky bead, which could deceive a spiritual contract, the basic ethics in his heart prevented him from doing such a thing. "Is that so?" The girl fell into thought, biting her finger upon hearing that. "Since it's not available for public rental, then I won't disturb you anymore." Lu Changxing didn't mind, slightly bowing his hands towards the young girl. "Senior, please wait. Our store's pill furnace and alchemy chamber are currently in use, and we can rent them to the senior. But the price is 50 spirit stones per day, with a minimum rental period of 10 days, and the spirit stones consumed by the earth fire array need to be provided by you, the senior," the girl in the yellow gown called out as Lu Changxing started to leave. "Oh." Lu Changxing paused in his steps, nodded to the girl and replied, "No problem." 50 spirit stones a day was not expensive. After all, buying a second-rank pill furnace would cost at least 10,000 spirit stones. And a top-grade second-rank pill furnace, twice as expensive as a talisman brush, would cost 30 to 40,000 spirit stones. That was also the reason Lu Changxing was hesitant to buy a pill furnace for himself at the moment. "Let's start with 10 days then, and if I need to continue later, I can top up, can I?" Lu Changxing took out 500 spirit stones and spoke to the girl. "No problem, senior. Please follow me." The girl nodded vigorously, a smile spreading across her face as she accepted the spirit stones. She then led Lu Changxing to the backyard of the store, in front of a house built of black bricks. Lu Changxing touched the black wall, feeling its chill. He knew it was made of bunka stone. This type of brick withstands high temperatures very well. Most alchemy and artifact refinement rooms are constructed of this material. Otherwise, the mere heat from earth fire alone would melt most materials. "Senior, this is our alchemy chamber. The fire is very stable, enough to produce most types of elixir medicines," said the girl as she took out a token and unlocked the chamber's restraint. The interior wasn't large, only 40 to 50 square meters, clean and simple. On each of the 4 walls hung a gourd the size of a fist. In the center of the room lay a flat circular stone platform about a meter wide made from bunka stone, only half a foot tall. Around the outer edge of the round platform were inlaid 8 small, fiery red dragon heads, lively and vivid. Their mouths were slightly raised, pointing directly at the space above the center of the platform, poised as if to spout fire. "How is this used?" Lu Changxing looked at the alchemy chamber, knowing that the round platform was the mouth of earth fire, and asked aloud. "The senior doesn't know?" The girl tilted her small head, looking somewhat surprised. In Jiuxiao Immortal City, anyone wishing to open an alchemy or artifact refining shop that requires access to earth fire must apply through the city administration. Thus, the alchemy chambers in Jiuxiao Immortal City are mostly similar. "It's my first time in Jiuxiao Immortal City," Lu Changxing explained. "So that's how it is," the girl said understandingly. Then she comprehended why Lu Changxing needed to rent the alchemy chamber. She immediately stepped forward adorably and pointed at the round platform, explaining, "This is the earth fire mouth of the alchemy chamber. The earth fire needed for alchemy is spouted from these 8 dragon heads. Senior, here you can adjust the size and height of the flames. For the specific method of operation, the senior can check this jade slip," said the girl as she finished her brief introduction, handing Lu Changxing a jade slip. "Good." Lu Changxing took the jade slip and quickly glanced over it. It contained a basic introduction on how to operate and use the earth fire array. He looked at the girl and asked, "Where is the alchemy furnace?" Chapter 458. The Great Formation of Myriad Corpses and Profound Darkness, Alchemy. The alchemy furnace has been put away upstairs. Please wait a moment, Senior. I'll go get it. Upon hearing this, the girl slapped her forehead and immediately responded. She then hastened out of the room, taking quick steps with her small legs. It seems that this shop must seriously mismanaged, Lu Changxing said as he watched the girl, shaking his head slightly. Only the girl was in the shop. Considering her bored demeanor a moment ago and the display case in the shop with mostly first-grade elixir medicines, he roughly judged that the current situation of the shop was not very good. The few alchemy shops he had just visited, no matter how poor, all had 1 or 2 reception apprentices. Moreover, looking at the clean state of the alchemy chamber and the pill furnace being put away, it meant there probably was no alchemist present either. Senior, the alchemy furnace. The girl returned to the room in a short while, taking out a half-man-tall, reddish-bronze cloud-patterned alchemy furnace from her storage bag. Thank you very much, Lu Changxing said as he looked at the pill furnace in front of him, mana flowing within his body, immediately causing the furnace to steadily land atop the 8 fire-breathing dragon heads. Oh, Senior, inside these gourds is Mars sand, which can temporarily strengthen the power of the earth fire. If you find the temperature of the earth fire insufficient and need a greater blaze to increase its power, feel free to add Mars sand. This is complimentary, the girl said, pointing to the gourds on the wall. Thank you very much, Lu Changxing nodded and said with a smile. All right, Senior, please proceed with your alchemy. I won't disturb you any further. I'll be in the front shop all the time. Just call me if you need anything. By the way, my name is Li Xingyu, the girl in the yellow skirt voiced. Haha, thank you for your trouble, Miss Li, Lu Changxing replied, nodding. After speaking, he added, my name is Yi Fan. All right, Senior Yi. Upon hearing this name, the girl's eyes instantly curved into crescents, beaming with a smile. She knew that since the other party was willing to share his name, it meant that their relationship had also become closer. This Senior Yi seems easy to talk to. I wonder if my sister can recruit him as a resident alchemist. If we haven't managed to invite a resident alchemist, I wonder if I could ask Senior Yi for this favor, thought the girl as she left the alchemy chamber. Huff. After the girl left, Lu Changxing closed the door to the alchemy chamber and began to prepare for alchemy. He first embedded 3 middle-grade spirit stones into the earth fire array. Then, following the spell from the jade slip, he cast 8 streaks of red light upon the dragon heads. The dragon heads immediately absorbed the red light, then spouted streaks of purple flames from their maws. The alchemy chamber was filled with a surge of intense heat. Let's start with a furnace of harmonizing energy elixir to warm up the hands. Lu Changxing prepared to first refine a furnace of harmonizing energy elixir, which aids those at the foundation establishment cultivation. Rise. He looked at the pill furnace and with a hand gesture, cast a ray of spiritual light. Behold, the lid of the furnace flew up, and a stream of spiritual water rushed into the pill furnace, cleaning it thoroughly. Then, with a slap to his storage bag, multiple spiritual medicines flew one by one into the pill furnace for refinement. Blue moon grass, citrus ghost flower, bamboo cloud juice. Although it was his first time performing alchemy, Lu Changxing was not the slightest bit nervous, exuding a quiet calm. With his second-rank alchemy skills, a common second-grade elixir like the harmonizing energy elixir was something he could handle with ease. Just like that, Lu Changxing placed all the required spiritual medicines into the pill furnace, then replaced the lid perfectly. This step was executed flawlessly, without a single mistake. Watching the flames slowly burning and refining the spiritual medicines, Lu Changxing casually took out a talisman brush, talisman paper, and spirit ink and began drawing. Taking advantage of the free time during alchemy, he started crafting a few spirit talismans. If anyone were to witness this scene, they would likely be too astonished to speak. Chapter 459. The Pitiable Pair of Sisters _1 Jiangzhou, Dongning City. Lu Pingon, it was really nice meeting you. Don't worry, once I become a disciple of the Heavenly Sword sect and a great sword immortal, I'll bring you along for cultivation. A girl in black stood on tiptoe, patted the shoulder of the boy who was a head taller than her, and said goodbye to him. If that's the case, then I wish Miss Qin a safe journey. Upon hearing this, Lu Pingon cracked a smile. Then, he took out a stack of talisman elixirs and 3 porcelain bottles from his chest and said, "Right, the road is long and arduous, these are for you." "For me?" The girl looked at the talisman elixirs and porcelain bottles in the boy's hands, her little face frozen in surprise. She knew he had many spirit talismans and elixir medicines at his side, but she didn't expect him to give them all to her at this moment. Qin Yi sized up Lu Pingon and said, "Lu Pingon, did you get your head caught in a door when you were little?" "Not really, but when I was little, I chased after Xiao He every day and often got flung around by its tail," Lu Pingon said, scratching his head. The girl in black knew that Xiao He was a big wolf dog raised in Lu Pingan's family. She raised an eyebrow, her small face wrinkled slightly, crossed her arms, and turned slightly to the side, squinting at Lu Pingon. "Lu Pingon, do you like me or something?" Lu Pingon was stunned upon hearing this, as if turned into stone. Hee. The usually expressionless cold-faced girl, much like Lu Pingon, cracked a smile, her eyebrows lifting. She then gave Lu Pingon a thumbs up, complimenting, "Not bad taste. However, I, Qin Yi, plan to be a peerless sword immortal in the future, so the man I, Qin Yi, like must be the most formidable sword immortal in the world." "Lu Pingon, I can only let you down, sorry about that," she said, chin up and chest out. "Miss Qin, you've misunderstood, I don't have feelings for you. It's just that going to the Heavenly Sword sect is perilous and far." Lu Pingon waved his hands hurriedly, trying to explain. The girl raised an eyebrow, looking into Lu Pingan's eyes, leaning in slightly and holding out her arm with thumb and forefinger almost touching. She asked, "Not even a little bit of liking?" "None. Miss Qin, please be assured, I absolutely don't have feelings for you." Lu Pingon leaned slightly back, his denial coming firm and decisive. The girl withdrew her hand, heaving a deep sigh as she looked at Lu Pingon. She shook her head. "Lu Pingon, oh Lu Pingon, you're such a simpleton. If you ever get married, you'd be the kind of husband that would drive someone to want to smack you dead." "How could that be?" "I'm not stupid. If I really got a wife, that would be a different story. I definitely wouldn't let her be wronged," Lu Pingon earnestly replied. "Not stupid," Qin Yi said with disbelief, her face full of irony. After a year together, she thought Lu Pingon was just like a foolish son of a landlord. If she hadn't met him, he probably would have been cheated into working in mines. "Miss Qin, just take them. I promised my dad and mom I'd be out for at most 3 years. It's been 2 years since I left, and I should be heading home. I won't need these things." Lu Pingon passed the talisman elixirs to Qin Yi. After speaking, he said with a smile, "Consider it an early investment in you, the future great sword immortal." "All right, since that's the case, I'll accept it," Qin Yi said after hearing this, pursing her lips. "Be careful on the road. If you can't beat them, run, and don't get into fights with others." Lu Pingon said with a smile as he watched the girl accept his items. "Lu Pingon, what kind of talk is that? The person in front of you is me, Qin Yi, the future great sword immortal. Remember that," the girl said, looking up and staring at Lu Pingon. I get it, that's why you should be more careful. If you die before you even reach the Heavenly Sword sect and become a great sword immortal, that would be a real pity. I'm still waiting for you to become a great sword immortal so I can bask in your glory," Lu Pingon said with a laugh. He, influenced by his father Lu Changxing, also enjoyed smiling a lot. However, his smile gave others a feeling of honesty and straightforwardness. "Lu Pingon, you really act like a nagging old lady. You're just like a woman," the girl in black said irritably. Hee. Lu Pingon didn't argue, just smiled. "Lu Pingon, what are your plans for the future?" Qin Yi asked. My mother has always hoped that I would settle down early. If my dad hadn't agreed, she wouldn't have let me travel. Now that I'm returning, I should listen to my mom, get married, have children, and take care of family matters," Lu Pingon said after some thought. Yet as he spoke, his face revealed a tinge of wistfulness. He had always yearned for the path of cultivation, especially this year, traveling the secular cultivation world with Qi, experiencing many things he had never seen before, made him yearn even more for this fascinating world. But without a spiritual root, he was destined to be unable to cultivate and could only remain immortal. Moreover, as the eldest son in his family, he had to set a good example and not disappoint his parents. Both his parents hoped he would marry and establish himself soon. So after being away for so long, it was time to return home and follow their plans. The girl in black listened to this and fell silent for a moment. She naturally knew the divide between immortals and mortals. Without a spiritual root, one couldn't embark on the path of cultivation. As for her earlier words about taking Lu Pingon to cultivate once she became a great sword immortal, she couldn't bring herself to say it now. After all, she was just a cultivator who had recently broken through to the 4th level energy refinement. Well, take care, Lu Pingon said with a smile after seeing Qin Yi's expression. I'm off until we meet again. The girl looked up at the earnest and handsome young man before her and said aloud, until we meet again. Chapter 460. The pitiable pair of sisters. Lu Pingon spoke softly. Just like that, Lu Pingon watched as Qin Yi left. Qin Yi didn't look back. She knew Lu Pingon was watching her, but she dared not turn around and just walked away briskly. With the separation, both of them felt a void in their hearts. Jiuxiao Immortal City. Treasure Elixir Pavilion, inside the alchemy chamber. Hoo, 8 miniature dragon heads were spewing out purple flames, refining all the spiritual medicine in the pill furnace into spiritual liquid, filling the room with a faint medicinal fragrance. Lu Changsheng sat by the side, calmly finishing a talisman. Then he lifted his hand, porcelain vases opened one after another, several drops of spiritual liquid and powder flew into the pill furnace, then he cast a spell. After finishing, Lu Changsheng picked up the talisman brush again and continued crafting talismans. A day and a half later. Condense. Seeing the acupurple medicinal liquid in the pill furnace slowly turning into a deep purple, with spiritual light emerging, Lu Changsheng seized the right moment and cast a spiritual art. The deep purple medicinal liquid continuously thickened, with the color shifting between blue and purple, emitting a rich medicinal scent. This time, Lu Changsheng did not continue talisman making. Instead, he quietly watched the crimson pill furnace, using a fire-controlling technique to manage the intensity of the flames. Open! As soon as the spirit pills in the pill furnace took shape and the spiritual light blossomed, Lu Changsheng shouted clearly, forming hand seals to employ the furnace opening spell. The lid of the furnace flew off, and steam diffused out, with strands of acupurple light swirling around, spreading the medicinal scent in all directions. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. With a wave of heat, mana enveloped 19 elixir medicines, which flew into Lu Changsheng's hands. Not bad, 19 elixirs produced, 13 of fine quality and 6 of exceptional quality, Lu Changsheng said as he inspected the lustrous elixir medicines in his hand and nodded slightly. Elixir medicines varied in quality. They could generally be classified as inferior, standard, fine, and exceptional. Inferior elixir medicines are considered substandard. Although consumable, their effectiveness is poor, and they contain high elixir toxicity. Excessive use can harm the body. Fine and exceptional elixir medicines not only have better efficacy but also contain less elixir toxicity. The elixir medicines sold in the marketplace are mostly standard or fine quality, with exceptional elixirs being quite rare. Yet, for Lu Changsheng's first time refining elixirs, he produced 19, with 13 of fine quality and 6 of exceptional quality, which was truly remarkable. The cost of this batch of elixir medicines is roughly 100 spirit stones, Lu Changsheng mused. 19 elixirs, if calculated like this, the profit is actually about the same as what I get from making second-rank talismans. However, since the elixirs I've refined are either fine or exceptional quality, their price can be quite a bit higher, he added. Lu Changsheng briefly calculated the profit from this batch of elixir medicines. Back then, at the Elixir Cauldron Pavilion of Qingyun Market, he had purchased a bottle of harmonizing energy elixirs, spending 1,200 spirit stones. A bottle contained 10 elixir medicines. That is to say, this batch could sell for over 2,000 spirit stones, almost 20 times the profit. But the harmonizing energy elixirs he purchased were all standard quality. If they were of fine or exceptional quality, the price could be expected to be 2 to 3 times higher, or even more. After all, there are always wealthy individuals willing to spend more for that extra bit of efficacy and a little less elixir toxicity. Of course, harmonizing energy elixir is just the most common type of second-rank elixir. If high-difficulty elixirs like Three Suns elixir or Breakthrough elixir are refined, the profit margin could be considerably higher, he continued. And if it's possible to concoct foundation establishment elixirs or coagulation crystal elixirs, the profits would be even more substantial, he noted. However, the materials for these elixirs are quite rare, and they can't be produced in large quantities. Moreover, one of the reasons alchemists are so sought after is that many cultivators are willing to provide their own materials and pay for elixir concoction services. If the alchemy fails, there's no need to compensate, and if it succeeds, not only do the excess materials go into your pocket, but there's also a generous bonus. That's what makes the alchemists in demand. Having been in the cultivation world for a while now, Lu Changsheng understood the reasons why alchemists hold a slightly higher status than talisman masters. It's because the demand for, and the rarity of, certain elixirs exceeds that of talismans. An alchemist who earns a good reputation will have an endless stream of cultivators seeking his services for pill concoction. There's no need to busy oneself with daily alchemy to earn spirit stones. When I return and reveal my foundation establishment strength, I can also gradually show off my alchemy skills, he planned. After a few years, once I've built a reputation as Master Lu, the dual expert of elixirs and talismans, not only will wealth flow in, but numerous people will also come seeking my services for talisman making and alchemy, he envisioned. And I can recruit loads of talisman apprentices and alchemy apprentices to work for me. Lu Changsheng contemplated in his heart. Although he now had more than 30 children with spiritual roots, he planned for those without the talent to follow the path of craftspeople. But with the high barriers to entry in the 100 arts of cultivation, it's not likely that every child could achieve success. Even if all did become craftspeople, Lu Changsheng certainly wouldn't exploit his children, having them toil day in and day out concocting pills and crafting talismans for money. Who would build their development on internal exploitation? He established the family with the intention of providing an excellent environment for his descendants to grow. If he resorted to internal exploitation, that would be a deviation from his path. Thus, he intended to train a few talented apprentices to work for his family once it was established. In the cultivation world, people are the least valuable commodity. Even if they have spiritual roots or talent, it remains the same. Given his current second-rank talisman master status, if he were willing to recruit talisman apprentices from outside, countless individuals would be eager to apprentice and sign spiritual contracts. Sigh, I never thought I'd take the path of exploitation, Lu Changsheng exhaled lightly, shaking his head. He took out a white jade porcelain vase and put all the elixir medicines into it. Afterward, he looked at the pill furnace in front of him, formed hand seals for controlling fire, cleaned the furnace, and had various spiritual medicines enter the pill furnace, continuing with alchemy. Chapter 461. The pitiable pair of sisters Li Xingrua dragged her weary body toward her family's shop. Without a second-rank alchemist presiding, not only has business dwindled greatly, but we also can't pass the triennial shop assessment. Dad, Mom, what should I do? Li Xingrua looked at her deserted treasure elixir pavilion and heaved a deep sigh. She was born into a cultivation family. Her father was a foundation establishment cultivator and a second-rank alchemist. Her mother was also a foundation establishment cultivator. Under these circumstances, she could be considered to have been born with a silver spoon in her mouth. Thus, she was like a star cherished by all from a young age. But a year ago, everything changed. Her parents encountered a heretic cultivator during a trip and both perished, leaving behind her and her younger sister. Confronted with such a situation, their family did not offer concern or aid, but even tried to snatch the properties under her parents' names and force her sister into marriage. Luckily, thanks to her parents' connections, the family did not push them too hard. So she abandoned many of the family assets, took her sister, and came to Jiuxiao Immortal City, relying on this treasure elixir pavilion for a living. Originally, after being run by her parents for so many years, the elixir shop had already established a solid customer base and reputation in Jiuxiao Immortal City. As long as they could hire a second-rank alchemist, even if business couldn't return to its former glory, it wouldn't be too bad. But the family outright cast them out as renegades. Not only did they stop supplying spiritual medicine, they also recalled the apprenticeships of the alchemy from their shop to the family and forbade any other alchemists from collaborating with their shop. As time passed, their treasure elixir pavilion business got worse and worse. Many corporate partners also gradually ceased their cooperation. Half a month ago, she heard that a second-rank alchemist appeared in Baishan workshop. Without stopping to rest, she rushed over, hoping to offer a high price to invite the person to her shop to become the presiding alchemist. Just promoted to second-rank alchemist, he readily agreed to the terms and was ready to sign a spiritual contract. But upon finding out about her situation, he immediately chose to renege, sending her home defeated and disheartened. "Sister, you're back." Inside the shop, Li Xingyu, dressed in a pale yellow gown and with a lovely countenance, saw her sister return and immediately brightened up, her small face beaming with a smile as she called out, "Xingyu." Li Xingrua, looking at her sister's cheerful demeanor, squeezed out a smile on her somewhat weary face. A year ago, she was just like her sister, carefree, happily helping their parents manage the business every day. But since the death of their parents, a series of incidents taught her the coldness of the secular world. "Sister, how did it go with the alchemist from Baishan workshop? Is he willing to come to our place and be our presiding alchemist?" Seeing her sister's fatigue, Li Xingyu brewed a cup of spiritual tea for her and spoke up. "He's not willing." Li Xingrua picked up the spiritual tea, took a sip, and gently shook her head. "It's all right, sister. If it really comes down to it, we could sell the treasure elixir pavilion. That way, you wouldn't have to be so busy every day." Li Xingyu pursed her lips, holding her sister's hand in comfort. Despite her young age, she was very sensible. She knew the treasure elixir pavilion was the hard-earned business left to them by their parents, so her sister was reluctant to give up. Yet over the past year, she watched her sister tirelessly toil for the treasure elixir pavilion. Now altogether worn out, there was no time left for cultivation. "Xingyu, I'm okay." Li Xingruo responded with a smile. Selling the shop was indeed the best choice. But this shop was not just their parents' hard work, it also held beautiful memories of her and her parents. Once, her father taught her alchemy here, while her mother tutored her in techniques. "By the way, sister, a few days ago a senior Yi came to our shop asking if there was a pill furnace and an alchemy chamber for rent. I thought Senior Yi seemed trustworthy and he is a second-rank alchemist, so I rented them to him. We could talk to him later, maybe he would be willing to be our shop's presiding alchemist." At this, Li Xingyu spoke up. She had agreed to rent out the alchemy chamber, with a lease period of 10 days, thinking to wait for her sister to come back from her trip. If her sister had not secured a second-rank alchemist, then they would try to convince this Senior Yi to become their shop's presiding alchemist. Senior Yi? A second-rank alchemist? Renting the pill furnace and alchemy chamber? Li Xingrua was immediately startled upon hearing this. It was not a pleasant surprise, but one of alarm. Because upon hearing her younger sister's words, her first thought was of swindlers. A second-rank alchemist? What need would they have to rent an alchemy chamber from someone else? Even if they did need to rent an alchemy chamber, who would need to rent a pill furnace? What kind of second-rank alchemist doesn't own his own pill furnace? Only alchemy apprentices, who can't afford pill furnaces, use cast iron pots to concoct elixir medicines. Which second-rank alchemist needs to rent a pill furnace from someone? "Xingyu, Where is this alchemist? Still in the alchemy chamber? Li Xingrua immediately stood up and asked anxiously. This pill furnace was one of her father's heirlooms. It was also the most precious item in the shop at the moment. Thus, she normally kept the pill furnace put away, stored in the third-floor depository. She didn't expect her younger sister to actually rent it out to someone else. If this senior Yi turned out to be a con artist and either blew up the furnace through reckless alchemy, or swapped it with a fake and ran off with their actual pill furnace, the loss would be tremendous. Ah, surely not. I thought Senior Yi was quite amiable. He didn't seem like a swindler. Li Xingyu began to feel nervous after hearing her sister's words. It didn't occur to her that her goodwill might have backfired. She was also aware of the dire situation at home. Her sister had been out trying to recruit a second-rank alchemist. Chapter 462. The pitiable pair of sisters under Sfor. That's why the alchemy chamber was rented out externally to retain Lu Changxing. Now hearing her elder sister's words, she felt that was indeed the case. Where would a second-rank alchemist not even have a pill furnace of his own? Moreover, this senior Yi seemed quite unfamiliar with her family's earth-fire array and the starfire sand. Immediately, the two sisters quickly went to the backyard. Xingyu, you ask? Li Xingrua, seeing that the person was still in the alchemy chamber, let out a sigh of relief and asked her younger sister to call out. Although she suspected that Lu Changxing was a fraudster, she had not yet resorted to barging into the alchemy chamber directly. After all, it was only a suspicion. What if Lu Changxing really was an alchemist? What if he was at a critical moment in his alchemy process? As an alchemist herself, she knew that one should not be disturbed during the process of alchemy. Furthermore, in her heart, she hoped that this senior Yi was truly a second-rank alchemist. Because a second-rank alchemist who had fallen on such hard times that he had no pill furnace indicated that he was in a dire situation. If she could just offer generous terms, maybe she could persuade him to become the resident alchemist at her family's store. Senior Yi, Li Xingyu took out a token and called out into the alchemy chamber. Miss Li, is there something the matter? Lu Changxing, who was in the midst of alchemy and talisman making, asked without raising his head. Are you available right now? My sister has returned and would like to see you? Li Xingyu bit her lip and spoke out. She felt that Lu Changxing had a kind temperament and couldn't believe he was a fraudster. Come in. Lu Changxing, hearing this, guessed that it might be the young girl who had rented the alchemy chamber, and now a family elder had returned and came over to check in person. Giggle. The large stone door of the alchemy chamber slowly opened. A wave of heat spread out from inside the room. The sisters walked into the alchemy chamber. They immediately smelled a strong fragrance of medicine. In the center of the room, the fire in the pill furnace blazed vigorously, with spiritual light flowing around it, clearly in the process of concocting some extraordinary elixir medicines. Lu Changxing was seated to one side, busily writing something. What? The sisters were stunned at the sight. What is this? The fire was roaring as it refined elixir medicines. Yet here was Lu Changxing holding a spiritual brush, writing something. It looked as though he was making talismans. Whoever heard of someone doing other tasks while also engaged in alchemy? Ladies, please wait a moment. Lu Changxing said without raising his head. He could divide his attention while making talismans. But after all, he was crafting a second-rank spirit talisman. He needed to keep an eye on the talisman paper to finish the drawing, unable to do so blindly. A moment later, Lu Changxing's brush in his hand completed the last stroke on the talisman paper, causing spiritual light to surge on it. A second-rank talisman made. Fellow Daoist, Miss Li. Only then did Lu Changxing stand up and raise his head, greeting the two women with a smile. By their appearance and resemblance, he could tell at a glance that the two must be biological sisters. Li Xingyu was around 15 or 16, with clear eyes, a straight nose, an oval face, and a quiet disposition, charming and cute. This woman appeared to be about 20 years old. Her face had a 7 or 8/10 resemblance to Li Xingyu, with clear, refined features and bright eyes and white teeth. She seemed a bit weary from busyness, showing a trace of fatigue on her face. However, between her brows, there shone a transparent yet firm expression, like crystal. Senior Yi, you are also a talisman master? Li Xingyu, looking at Lu Changxing, asked incredulously, her face full of disbelief. The surge of spiritual light from the talisman paper confirmed that Lu Changxing was indeed making a talisman, drawing a spirit talisman just a moment ago. This left them so astonished they were at a loss for words. You see, both alchemy and talisman making are immensely difficult tasks that cannot be influenced or disturbed by external factors. Yet there was Lu Changxing, clearly in the middle of alchemy in the pill furnace, while also making a talisman on the side. And during the process of talisman making, he was still capable of holding a conversation with them. This was simply astounding and beyond comprehension. Hee, I know a little, Lu Changxing replied with a smile. Senior Yi, I am Xingyi's elder sister, Li Xingru. Just now, Xingyu mentioned that an alchemist had rented the alchemy chamber, so I came over to meet you. I apologize for disturbing Grandmaster Yi. Li Xingrua then spoke up, her voice respectful. She was not like her sister. She was much more precocious. Having learned alchemy from her father since she was young, she was a first-grade, high-quality alchemist. From the scent of the medicine, the fire in the pill furnace, and the medicinal liquid, she could roughly deduce that a second-grade elixir medicine was being concocted inside. This Senior Yi was indeed a second-rank alchemist. Not some scammer. This made her almost at a loss for what to say. To be concocting a second-grade elixir medicine while dividing his attention to make a talisman. The surge of spiritual light when the talisman was completed indicated it was not just any ordinary spirit talisman. This excited her deeply. She realized her younger sister truly had encountered a master. The Senior Yi before them was a real expert. If he could become the resident alchemist at their store, their shop could be saved. No problem. I came to Jiuxiao Immortal City and forgot to bring my pill furnace, so I had to find a place to rent both a pill furnace and an alchemy chamber. I owe it to your younger sister for providing me a place to conduct my alchemy, Lu Changxing said with a smile. He could tell that Li Xingrua was likely quite sharp and capable. Senior Yi, are you planning to settle in Jiuxiao Immortal City? If you're looking for a place to stay, our Treasure Elixir Pavilion is currently lacking a resident alchemist. I wonder if Senior Yi might be interested? As long as Senior Yi is willing to become, Li Xingruo's eyes lit up as she immediately spoke out, her eyes full of hope. Miss Li, I came to Jiuxiao Immortal City to take care of some business and don't have plans to settle here. Chapter 463, The Pitiable Pair of Sisters under Stu. So there really is no way for me to serve as the resident alchemist for your esteemed pavilion? Lu Changxing shook his head, voicing his refusal. He wasn't averse to the notion of being a shop's resident alchemist. If the shop were located in Red Leaf Valley Market or the markets around Qingzhou Mountain, he wouldn't mind using an alias to serve as a resident alchemist. Not only would that provide an additional income, but it would also create another channel for selling elixir medicines. He could sell all the surplus elixirs that he had produced in the shop. However, his main base was at Qingzhou Mountain. After completing this purchasing trip, he would return and not stay long in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Where does Elder Yi reside? As long as you are willing to become our Treasure Elixir Pavilion resident alchemist, you don't have to come to the shop regularly. Xingrua can visit you to discuss matters. You only need to take the trouble of coming over when there is a need. Li Xingrua was reluctant to give up and continued to speak. Li fellow Daoist, I reside in the Qingyun region, which is truly far from Jiuxiao Immortal City, Lu Changxing said, shaking his head. From Qingzhou Mountain to Jiuxiao Immortal City, one would have to traverse half of Jiang Country Cultivation Realm. Qingyun region. Upon hearing this, Li Xingrua felt somewhat disheartened. She knew that with such a distance, the journey was indeed long. Even by riding a spirit boat, it would take several months. Biting her lip, she persisted, May I ask when Elder Yi plans to leave? Her family's shop was facing not just a decline in business. There was another problem as well. In Jiuxiao Immortal City, there was a regulation. All pharmacy, talisman, and magic artifact shops in the inner city district must have a second-rank master in residence. Therefore, every 3 years, Jiuxiao Immortal City conducts a shop assessment. The resident talisman master of the shop is required to go to the 100 Arts Hall in the city for assessment and registration. If they did not pass the assessment, the shop's business license would be revoked. Now, there were only 3 months left until the assessment. If she could not secure a second-rank alchemist who hadn't registered in the city to pass the assessment within these 3 months, then her treasure elixir pavilion would no longer be able to operate. About 2 months, Lu Changsheng said after a moment of consideration. He planned to wait until the auction was over and then return home after exchanging the heads of the 2 robber cultivators from Red Leaf Valley. The reason he was not immediately collecting the reward was that Lu Changsheng had learned something. The rewards offered by the Heavenly Sword sect could be exchanged for items of equivalent value. Spirit stones, elixir medicines, magic artifacts, cultivation techniques, and rare treasures were all options. Therefore, he was not in a rush to claim the reward. He intended to wait until his purchases were complete to see which materials he still lacked. Only then would he use the heads of the 2 to select his reward, exchanging for the items he needed. 2 months. Upon hearing this, a pleading look appeared in Li Xingruo's eyes as she said, "I wish to request that Elder Yi act as the nominal resident alchemist for our treasure elixir pavilion and participate in the annual assessment. This assessment is in 3 months' time, and it will not take up much of your time, Elder Yi. As long as you are willing, Elder Yi, any conditions you have can be discussed," Li Xingrua said, full of hope as she looked at Lu Changsheng. Her sister Li Xingyu nodded along, looking at Lu Changsheng with hopeful eyes as well. Any conditions can be discussed? Lu Changsheng had not expected that an offer to be a mere shop's resident alchemist could make the 2 women so determined and agreeable, willing to make such a significant commitment. He looked at the 2 sisters with a somewhat strange expression. The elder sister, 8th level energy refinement. The younger sister, 4th level energy refinement. At this age, with this cultivation level, it suggested that their spiritual root talents were quite impressive. If he were to marry them and have children, it seemed it would be quite good. However, he, Lu Changsheng, was not so desperate to propose that someone else's young girl becomes his concubine over such a trifle. In Jiuxiao Immortal City, there should be other second-rank alchemists among the surrounding family powers, right? Your pavilion manages to operate a shop here in the inner city district of Jiuxiao Immortal City. It shouldn't be that difficult to hire a second-rank alchemist, should it? Lu Changsheng asked out loud. This store's ability to operate in the inner city district of Jiuxiao Immortal City indicated that it had some strength. Nowadays, not only was the business sluggish, but the shop was also manned by just 2 young girls. It seemed it wasn't merely due to poor management. Therefore, Lu Changsheng speculated that there must be other reasons. Senior, Li Xingrua bit her lip and recounted the reasons. So that's how it is. After listening to Li Xingruo's words, Lu Changsheng sighed softly in his heart. He thought to himself that the 2 sisters were pitiable. Otherwise, considering the original family situation of the 2 sisters, they were indeed better off than many others. But such was the cultivation world, full of uncertainties. Senior, Li Xingyia's eyes reddened with memories flooding back as her sister recounted their parents' story, her face filled with sadness and misery. If that's the case, I can help you with the assessment 3 months from now. But how do I know what you've told me is true and that I want to fend the Li family behind you? Lu Changsheng spoke out. He, Lu Changsheng, was a father himself, with a heart full of love, always soft-hearted, and unable to bear seeing such things. If he could help, he was more than willing to lend a hand. As for the Li family behind the 2 women, he was not afraid. According to what Li Xingrua had just described, the Li family was only a foundation establishment family. After the death of her parents, the family had a total of 4 foundation establishment cultivators. But he could not simply believe whatever he was told. The senior may inquire a bit in the Immortal City. For example, the 100 Dawn Chamber and Heaven Knowledge Tower within the city deal in all kinds of intelligence and news. Senior may purchase information about our Li family and our shop through the 100 Dawn Chamber, and then you'll know if it's true. Li Xingrua said softly. Just recounting the past had made her feel somewhat depressed. Alright, how about I give the two young ladies a response later tonight? Lu Changxing glanced at Li Xingrua and nodded. He had also realized that after this procurement trip, there would certainly be a need for future purchases in the Immortal City. If the young women were good, he could maintain this relationship and channel. In the future, through the two women, he could purchase and acquire some rare materials in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Then have Xiaoxia ask for the spiritual vessel from Qingyun's sect to bring them back. This way, he could avoid the trouble of running around himself. Thank you, Senior Yi. Thank you, Senior Yi. Upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words, the two sisters exchanged a look, their eyes filled with joy. Chapter 464. The Dao Soldier of the Mysterious Corpse, witness the divine skills of a true person. _1 Blackwater Pool. Boom, 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 hoo, 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 one after another, the spirit boats, with cultivators taking turns attacking the Xiahou family's myriad corpses' profound ghost formation, were causing a tremendous uproar and noise, accompanied by waves of ghastly wails and howls of wolves. However, it was apparent that the Qingyun sect's army's attack had significantly slowed down, nowhere near as ferocious as it had been at the beginning. Reporting to Kai Yun True Immortal, the earth-shaking formation is ready. Just then, an array master came aboard the giant spiritual vessel suspended in the void. He respectfully addressed a breathtakingly beautiful woman robed in colorful palace attire who exuded a regal and unparalleled elegance. Break the formation. Yun Wanshang, from her elevated position, gazed down upon all beings, slightly parted her red lips and uttered the words coldly and authoritatively. Yes. The nearby array master immediately acknowledged, taking out an array plate and manipulating it. Suddenly, the mountain ranges around Blackwater Pool, where the mountain-suppressing formation, mountain-shaking formation, inverted mountain formation, earth-shaking formation, and mudstone formation were set up, all activated at once. Under the direction of each array master, spiritual light surged, array flags fluttered in the wind, and bursts of light shot up into the sky. The light connected to the local Earth's energy and spiritual energy, merging to form the earth-shaking formation. The entire Great Formation displayed a yellowish-brown color, resembling an earth dragon stretching between heaven and earth, its presence astounding. The earth-shaking formation had the power to overturn mountains and lakes and to shake spirit veins. A third-rank Great Formation was hard to break, with no weaknesses, because a formation of this level was already capable of perfectly connecting with the spirit veins, forming a world all its own, thus making it impregnable. But the earth-shaking formation's ability to invert mountains and lakes directly damaged the Great Formation's spirit veins, turning the third-rank Great Formation into a castle in the air that would collapse without being attacked. Break the formation. Aboard the spiritual vessel, the array master channeled with both hands and shouted aloud. He immediately threw the array plate in his hand, which transformed into a streak of light and flew into the earth dragon's eyes. Roar! The earth dragon seemed to fully awaken, letting out a roar and charging towards the bottom of Blackwater Pool with a thunderous noise. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, everyone felt the ground tremble violently, followed by shaking lands and chaotic spiritual energy. The second-tier top-level spirit vein beneath the Blackwater Pool, under the assault of the earth-shaking formation, was immediately damaged, with countless spiritual energies spilling out. A second-grade spirit vein housing a third-rank Great Formation was already straining to maintain operations solely through the countless corpses and treasures of the Xiahou family. Now, with the spirit vein damaged by the assault of the mountain-shaking formation, its force was greatly diminished and it could no longer sustain itself. Dong, dong, dong. The east wind blew, and the battle drums sounded. Aboard the giant spiritual vessel, 36 cultivators blew the attack horn and beat the war drums. The sound of the horns and drums revived the spirit of every cultivator as if receiving an order, and they collectively bombarded the myriad corpses' profound ghost formation around Blackwater Pool. Boom, boom, boom. The overwhelming offensive fell upon the myriad corpses' profound ghost formation, causing the formation to instantly reveal cracks and flaws, and the true scene within Blackwater Pool was exposed. No! Ancestor! Inside Blackwater Pool, amidst the shaking earth and gusty spiritual energy, buildings collapsed, and many of the Xiahou clan's people let out cries of pain and wailing. They knew that at this moment, the Xiahou family was finished. Ancestor! Xiahou Wuo's complexion turned unsightly at this moment as he called out to the patriarch of his family. The earth-shaking formation, Qingyun sect knew that a great war between two countries was about to start, so they spared no expense to decisively annihilate our Xiahou family with a thunderous approach. Wuo, when I hold off the people from Qingyun sect, you must seize the chance to escape. Remember, after you leave, do not return to the Heavenly Corpse sect. Within the depths of Blackwater Pool, Xiahou Jie, with a rigid face and ashen-gray skin, his eyes a dark red, spoke in an ice-cold voice. Ancestor! Upon hearing these words, Xiahou Wuo's voice was heavy. He had long known of his family ancestor's decision. To attract the attention of Qingyun sect, the family brought the elite members away from the Qingyun region, escaping from Jiang country. If they couldn't hold out until Jin Kingdom invaded, he was to escape at the first opportunity. Now that our Xiahou family's core descendants have been sent away, as long as you live, there is hope for the Xiahou family. Never forget the family feud and blood hatred. Xiahou Jie's voice was cold, devoid of emotion. Ancestor, Wuo dares not forget. Xiahou Wuo looked at his family ancestor, suddenly knelt down, his forehead touching the ground in reverence, bowing deeply 3 times, his expression solemn, eyes slightly red. Qingyun sect. Xiahou Jie suddenly looked up towards the Qingyun sect members on the great formation outside, his gaze fixed on Yun Wanshang above on the spiritual vessel. His dark red eyes gradually turned bloodshot, deep and somber like blood. The ashen-gray skin took on the color of blackened iron, with threads of mysterious and malevolent deathly energy spreading around. Boom, boom, boom. Aboard the giant spiritual vessel, the big cannons, primed and ready, fired at this moment. Columns of thunderous lightning, 12 feet wide and capable of obliterating heaven and earth, bombarded the wavering great formation. The entire heavens filled with gray and black energy, mountains of corpses and seas of blood, wails of ghosts and howls of wolves. All were turned to ash in an instant, vanishing without a trace. The Xiahou family's myriad corpses' mysterious ghost great formation was completely shattered in this moment. Inside Blackwater Pool, the Xiahou family's mountain fortress was revealed. Within it, the city walls, houses, buildings, and spirit veins were already in ruins, a scene of utter devastation. Nearly all the common folk of the Xiahou family perished under the earth-shaking formation, crushed beneath the buildings without even a chance to wail. Only some cultivators, in the midst of the shaking earth and collapsing formation, somehow remained alive. The formation has broken, exterminate the Xiahou clan. Aboard the giant spiritual vessel, Yun Wanshang with a noble and icy demeanor, her brows exuding dominance and authority, commanded sternly. Suddenly, a golden magical sword appeared in her hand, and as she stepped forward, she stood suspended in the void, her presence like a rainbow, suppressing heaven and earth. Kill! 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 One after another, the spiritual vessels and each foundation establishment ancestor, upon receiving the order, led their disciples to slaughter their way into Blackwater Pool. Chapter 465. The Tao Soldier of the Mysterious Corpse, witness the divine skills of a true person. Now is the final time for harvest. My sons, follow this old ancestor into battle. In Blackwater Pool, Xiahou Jie looked up to the sky and let out a howl, his voice roaring like a wild beast, a lone wolf howling at the moon, captivating the soul. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, endless gloom and the stench of corpses spread and surged. One could see from the territory of the Blackwater Pool clan, countless dark coffins flying out, covering the sky, easily 1,000 in number. Numerous zombies broke out of their coffins, howled to the sky with blood-red eyes, and charged towards the people. Kaiyun true immortal, I, Xiahou Jie, today bring my Xiahou family's sons and Dao soldiers of the mystical zombies to experience the might of your divine skills. Xiahou Jie stood on a bronze coffin and soared into the sky. His skin was dark as ink, his eyes blood-red, and the aura of dark evil around him nearly materialized, like a fiendish deity, malevolent and fierce. Jiuxiao Immortal City. Treasure Elixir Pavilion, Alchemy Chamber. Whoosh, 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 8 miniature dragon heads breathed out purple flames, making the spiritual mechanism of the pill furnace pervasive and filling the air with the fragrance of medicine. Elder Yi, your elixir is about to be ready. Li Xingrua looked at the pill furnace before her, where the spiritual mechanism was in full flow, and spoke up to remind him. There's no rush. This batch of elixir medicines is second-rank spirit-nourishing pills. In order to enhance their effectiveness, I added some red lotus powder, not only to lock in the efficacy but also to improve the quality of the pills during coagulation, though it requires a bit more time to refine. Lu Changsheng, who was drawing a talisman nearby, didn't lift his head as he spoke gently. Previously, when the Li sisters invited him to be the resident alchemist of Treasure Elixir Pavilion, he said he would consider it. After purchasing information about the Li family and the Treasure Elixir Pavilion from the 100 Dawn Chamber and confirming that the sisters were telling the truth, Lu Changxing accepted the role of resident alchemist and took on the shop assessment. As for the price, the sisters had to pay him a compensation of 3,000 spirit stones. Moreover, during this period, they would sell the elixir medicines and talismans for him and procure all kinds of materials he needed. Faced with this demand, the sisters agreed without hesitation. So, for more than a month, Lu Changxing was practically always at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, refining pills and making talismans. Excess elixir medicines and talismans were all sold by the two sisters on his behalf, causing the spirit stones in his storage bag to swell. He now had a huge sum of over 40,000 spirit stones. And after spending this month in their company, the Li sisters had grown much closer to him. Whenever Li Xingrua was free, she would come over to help him control the fire and watch over the furnace. As for this, Lu Changxing not only did not mind, but he also took the opportunity to instruct and teach this young girl the skills of alchemy. So that's it. Second-rank spirit-nourishing pills with added red lotus powder lock in the efficacy. Li Xingrua, hearing this, nodded thoughtfully. Alchemy, artifact refining, talisman making. It's difficult to explore these fields by oneself without inheritance and someone to guide. However, doing so also demands much higher skill in the pill condensation technique. It requires the condensation of water vapor during pill formation and integrating it into the medicine. Lu Changxing spoke unhurriedly. In the inheritance of second-rank alchemy skills, there are many alchemical techniques included. Although these alchemy skills are just common techniques, not some rare inheritances, they are enough to deal with 90% of the elixir medicines on the market. The elixir medicines he refined were of optimal effect, mostly exquisite or supreme in quality. Xingrua watched closely. After drawing another first-grade spirit talisman, Lu Changsheng spoke to Li Xingrua. When the spiritual mechanism surged inside the pill furnace, he clenched his hands together in an intricate seal. Washing stream transforming cloud technique, condense the pill. As clouds and mist filled the pill furnace, and the heat steamed up, a waft of water vapor spread towards the coalescing medicinal liquid. This water vapor will wash over the pill for a moment, then the furnace must be opened immediately, otherwise it will affect the quality of the elixir medicine. Open! Lu Changxing spoke, his hands forming rapid seals, causing the red furnace lid to fly up. Suddenly, many brown spirit pills, the size of lychee fruits, flew into Lu Changsheng's hands. This batch of spirit-nourishing pills totaled over 40. All of them were of exquisite or supreme quality. Different elixir medicines have different methods and ingredients for refining, hence the yield also varies. Like the spirit-nourishing pills, they could be refined with a large quantity of spiritual medicine at once, which is a bit crude, so the limit for Lu Changxing was about 50 pills. Store. Lu Changxing took out a porcelain bottle and let the 40-plus spirit-nourishing pills all enter into it. He then turned to Li Xingrua, who stood beside him, bewildered, and asked, "How about it, Xingrua? Did you understand?" "Elder Yi, I understood." Li Xingrua immediately regained her senses with a slight blush on her cheeks, nodding to Lu Changxing. Just now, watching Lu Changxing's heroic face and kind instruction reminded her of the days when her father taught her alchemy here. Though her normally kind father was very strict about alchemy, unlike Elder Yi's gentle approach. Let's stop here for today. You can also come to me if you have any questions about alchemy. With your talent, as long as you apply yourself, becoming a top-tier alchemist is not far off, and there's hope for you to reach second rank in the future, Lu Changxing said to Li Xingrua. This girl indeed had a knack for alchemy, a solid foundation. If her father had not passed away, leaving her without guidance and preoccupied with trivial matters, she would probably have already reached the pinnacle of first-grade alchemists. "Thank you, Elder Yi," Li Xingrua said, as if greatly encouraged, and nodded firmly. After spending over a month together, she recognized that the Elder Yi before her was a very potent alchemist, even more so than her own father. Thus, she deeply trusted Lu Changxing's words, knowing that if he said she had prospects to become a second-rank alchemist, then she certainly did. "The auction starts tomorrow. I hope it won't be disappointing," Lu Changxing mused as he stepped out of the alchemy chamber and let out a breath. He was ready to go back and get a good rest. All right, Senior Yi." Li Xingyu immediately organized several talismans and placed them neatly in the center of the counter on hearing this. "Oh, and Senior Yi, here are the spirit stones from the sales of elixirs and talismans over the past few days." She then took out a storage bag and handed it over to Lu Changxing. Lu Changxing scanned it with his divine sense, 11,350 spirit stones. Exactly the amount from the elixirs and talismans he had made recently. "You've worked hard." He took out 50 spirit stones and handed them to Li Xingyu as a reward. "Thank you, Senior Yi." Li Xingyu immediately received them with a beaming smile. 50 spirit stones were not a small amount for her. Moreover, during this period, Lu Changxing had already given her more than 300 spirit stones. "All right, you should get some rest early." Seeing the girl's smiling face, Lu Changxing subconsciously rubbed her little head. Thousands of miles away from Jiuxiao Immortal City, there was a spiritual mountain called Great Cliff Mountain. The one in charge of this Great Cliff Mountain was the Li family. "You're saying that Treasure Elixir Pavilion got a second-rank alchemist, and this alchemist is a second-rank superior alchemist?" The patriarch of the Li family was somewhat astonished upon hearing a subordinate's report. A second-rank superior alchemist, even within Jiuxiao Immortal City, was not common. This caused some doubt in his mind about where his two nieces had found such a second-rank alchemist. "Yes, family head, this person produces elixirs of exceedingly high quality, definitely a second-rank superior alchemist. As for his background, this subordinate hasn't investigated any relevant information. Perhaps he's a newly arrived alchemist in Jiuxiao Immortal City. That's why he settled at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion." The reporter spoke respectfully. "Prepare a gift and go meet this alchemist. Test the waters to see what the relationship is like between the alchemist and Xingrua and the two of them. If their relationship is ordinary and he's only temporarily residing at Treasure Elixir Pavilion, ask if he's willing to come to our Great Cliff Li family as a guest elder. Our family is willing to welcome him with open arms. If their relationship is good, then apologize profusely, saying there has been some misunderstanding and conflict between the families, and see his attitude. Be sure not to offend him." The patriarch of the Li family tapped the table and contemplated. Even a second-rank superior alchemist, without any background, could quickly build connections through his alchemy. Therefore, the Li family was not willing to offend an alchemist of such caliber. If his two nieces had made acquaintance with such an alchemist, it indeed wasn't good news for their Li family. After all, the Li family's previous actions towards the two sisters were not exactly honorable. "Yes, family head." The reporter bowed and complied. Chapter 467, Special Monster Core, Minor Forbidden Formation. _1 The next day. Lu Changxing went out and headed towards the Jiuxiao Mountain auction venue. Today was the biannual auction day in Jiuxiao Immortal City. But for Jiuxiao Immortal City, such a small auction was just a minor event. It was a sale of some rarely seen exquisite items. As far as Lu Changxing knew, the real bustling auctions in the city occurred once every 3 years and once every 10 years. Items like Foundation Establishment Elixir, along with many rarely seen spirit pills and elixirs, cultivation technique inheritances, and heavenly and earthly treasures, could all be found in these big auctions. After arriving at the Jiuxiao Mountain auction venue, Lu Changxing took out the invitation he had bought early. Esteemed cultivator, you hold a box invitation, please follow me. A maid with a fair and delicate face and a cheerful smile invited Lu Changxing to the second floor of the venue. Inside the box, the privacy of the guests is absolutely confidential, and after you win an item, it will be sent directly to the box for the transaction. The maid led the way while introducing the facilities and rules of the auction venue. Lu Changxing nodded slightly. He had understood these aspects earlier. The box was not only much more comfortable, but it also guaranteed a degree of privacy. As expected of the Immortal City, even a small auction here is busier than the long-anticipated auction in the Red Leaf Valley market back then. Lu Changxing settled into his box seat, overlooking the entire auction and observing the packed positions on the first floor. Mostly energy refining late-stage cultivators. And there were quite a few foundation establishment cultivators. Dong. About an hour later, with the loud sound of a gong, a tall woman dressed in red, mature and alluring, stepped onto the stage. Thank you all for your presence. The auction now begins, and I wish all fellow cultivators here can acquire their desired items. The first auction item, a lower-grade spiritual artifact river crossbow, with effects such as attacking enemies, breaking spells, and breaking seals, and it can be activated with spirit stones without consuming mana. The starting bid is 2,000 spirit stones. The woman in red spoke with a soft and sweet voice, holding a small crossbow, introducing it. Her voice resonated clearly in everyone's ears. 2,100 spirit stones. 2,500 spirit stones. Although this was a lower-grade spiritual artifact, being able to appear in the auction meant it was indeed a fine piece. Being able to be activated without consuming one's own mana meant that energy-refining late-stage cultivators could use it. 2,900 spirit stones. Lu Changxing called out a price. This spiritual artifact was naturally of no use to him. But it was just right for Lu Miaoge, who was at the peak of her energy-refining stage and practiced a water attribute cultivation technique. It would be suitable for self-defense. Moreover, since he was out, he naturally had to bring small gifts back home for his wives and children. After a few bids, Lu Changxing won it for 3,800 spirit stones. It wasn't too expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. Guest, here is the spiritual artifact you won. Shortly after, a maid came into the box through a hidden passage, carrying a tray. Lu Changxing picked up the crossbow and played with it briefly. He knew that this spiritual artifact could be easily activated by energy-refining cultivators through the nourishment of middle-grade spirit stones and regular care. If the energy stored inside was depleted, it would be much more difficult to activate. After paying the spirit stones, he put the crossbow away. Ice Heart Elixir can assist in breaking through bottlenecks in ice attribute cultivation technique practices and has the effects of suppressing heart demons and treating fire attribute injuries. There are a total of 10, with each starting at 500 spirit stones. The coquettish voice of the woman in red continued to permeate the auction venue, ringing in everyone's ears. Lu Changxing, lounging lazily on the soft chair, casually looked around. Unless it was a third-rank elixir or some rare medicines, he was generally uninterested. This. As Lu Changxing was idly gazing around, he suddenly saw a cultivator in the corner of the first floor. The cultivator was looking at the woman on stage with burning eyes, engaging in sleazy behavior. Damn, Lu Changxing cursed under his breath, his face showing the expression of an old man concentrating on his phone. He hadn't expected to see such an outrageous scene at an auction. But this person was also incredibly bold and apparently unafraid of death. After all, the woman on stage was not just for show. She was a foundation establishment cultivator. And this man was only at the energy refining late stage. Perhaps this is what makes it thrilling for him. Lu Changxing didn't understand the man's thoughts, shook his head and quickly averted his gaze, looking back at the shapely and voluptuous woman in red on the stage. The auction continued. It must be said, the quality of this auction was indeed good. Mostly it featured rare elixirs, magic artifacts, heavenly and earthly treasures, and young spiritual beasts not often seen. During the proceedings, there were also some cultivation techniques and secret skills of cultivation realms. However, the techniques only reached high-grade cultivation techniques, and the skill inheritances were at most second-tier top level. It seems that cultivation technique inheritances and advanced skills are tightly controlled everywhere, rarely leaking out. Chapter 468, Special Monster Core, Minor Forbidden Formation. Now this piece of third-rank middle-grade spiritual wood, fashioned into talisman skin, used to nurture treasure talismans, could cultivate third-rank middle-grade spirit talismans, and he deemed it absolutely necessary to obtain 4,500 spirit stones. Inside the first floor of the hall, a foundation establishment cultivator immediately placed a bid. 5,000 spirit stones. 5,100 spirit stones. 5,300 spirit stones. 6,000 spirit stones. Noticing that fewer people were bidding, Lu Changxing also called out an offer. 6,100 spirit stones. Inside a certain private box, a bid was called out. 6,500 spirit stones. Lu Changxing continued to bid. 6,600 spirit stones. This voice seemed to be gritting its teeth, because the price of third-rank middle-grade spiritual wood was around 5,000 to 6,000 spirit stones. However, this piece of spiritual wood bore the attribute of lightning, making it quite rare, and happened to be suitable for him to refine a treasure. 7,000 spirit stones. Lu Changxing declared, unruffled. Although it was a significant overbid, for him, as long as he could craft it into a talisman, it was all worth it. Once this price was announced, nobody else in the other private boxes placed any further bids. After all, among foundation establishment stage cultivators like Lu Changxing who were wealthy, there really weren't many. Soon, a maid delivered a length of purple veined spiritual wood several feet long. The spiritual wood was covered in purple lightning patterns and a faint spiritual light circulated within, extremely extraordinary. Not bad. Lu Changxing looked at the piece of purple thunder spirit wood and revealed a faint smile on his face. If the wood was made into third-rank talisman skin, it could be used to draw some third-rank thunder aspect talismans. After paying the spirit stones, he continued to watch the items being introduced on the stage. Second-rank middle-grade formation Wild Wind Fierce Fire Array, Array Plate, 108 array flags all intact, simple to manipulate, can unleash wild winds and fierce fires. Even a foundation establishment cultivator would find it very troublesome, suitable for defending a cave dwelling or trapping demon beasts. Starting bid, 5,000 spirit stones. This formation tool caught Lu Changxing's attention as quite decent. However, the range of this formation was too small, only 100 feet. Only suitable for guarding a cave dwelling or spiritual field. It could not serve as a family's great formation. So he did not participate in the auction. Nevertheless, this formation tool was auctioned off for a huge sum of 9,000 spirit stones. Next, we will introduce the highlight of today's auction. Half a quarter hour later into the auction, on stage, a woman in a red dress held up a deep blue crystal core and began introducing a second-rank special monster core, can replace a heavenly spirit fruit, to be used as a supplement in the foundation establishment elixir, starting bid, 8,000 spirit stones. A second-rank special monster core? Upon seeing this monster core, Lu Changsheng's eyebrows raised, showing a bit of interest. The rarity of Foundation establishment elixirs was due to the main ingredient Heavenly Spirit fruit being exceedingly scarce. Besides the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, which opened every 30 years, there was no fixed output. The occasional Foundation establishment elixirs that flowed out from the 3 great immortal cities were either because someone stumbled upon the Heavenly Spirit fruit by chance, or they replaced the Heavenly Spirit fruit with second-rank special monster core as the main ingredient of the Foundation establishment elixir. But such second-rank special monster cores were also incredibly rare. First of all, only some exceptionally rare and powerful second-rank demon beasts possessed monster cores. The second-rank green wolf that Lu Changsheng had killed before simply did not have such a thing as a monster core. Secondly, the monster cores used to concoct Foundation establishment elixirs had to contain energy that was neither too mixed nor too violent, and had to be of a gentle and pure attribute. Otherwise, they would collide with the other ingredients of the Foundation establishment elixir. For example, monster cores with attributes of metal, fire, lightning, ice, or multiple attributes did not meet the requirements. Therefore, it was extremely difficult for someone to hunt demon beasts and obtain this kind of special monster core. One would have to venture deep into the Myriad Beasts mountain range. However, deep within the Myriad Beasts mountain range, numerous demon beasts lurked. Even third-rank and fourth-rank demon kings were present. Nascent soul immortals entering there would find it a headache, with one misstep potentially leading to their demise. Therefore, ordinary Foundation establishment cultivators and nascent soul immortals wouldn't specifically venture deep into the Myriad Beasts mountain range to search for special monster cores. They would mostly rely on luck in the outer areas, or encounter such demon beasts in other mountain ranges and obtain special monster cores. Using a second-rank monster core instead of a Heavenly Spirit fruit to concoct a Foundation establishment elixir requires only minor adjustments to the recipe and alchemy techniques. If I acquire this second-rank special monster core, I could completely gather supplementary ingredients myself and concoct 3 Foundation establishment elixirs. Lu Changsheng mused internally, preparing to win this second-rank special monster core. Though he did not need a Foundation establishment elixir for himself, nobody would consider a rare item like the Foundation establishment elixir to be too plenty. Not only could it be used by his wives, concubines, and children, but it could also be traded for rare treasures of heaven and earth. In the cultivation world, Foundation establishment elixirs could be considered top-grade currency. 8,500 spirit stones. A voice immediately made a bid. 8,600 spirit stones. 8,800 spirit stones. Many cultivators present were interested in this second-rank special monster core. Energy refining cultivators wished for this special monster core to hire someone to concoct a Foundation establishment elixir for them. Foundation establishment cultivators had junior family members. And before long, the price of this monster core exceeded 10,000. 12,000 spirit stones. At that moment, an aged yet authoritative voice sounded, directly raising the bid by 1,000 spirit stones. Simultaneously, a window in this private box opened, allowing people to see through the window an old man with gray hair, a square face, and a dignified appearance. So it's Master He. It said that Master He is exceptionally skilled in using monster cores to concoct Foundation establishment elixirs, capable of ensuring at least 1 elixir per batch, and 2 elixirs with normal performance. If Master He purchases this monster core, there will be Foundation establishment elixirs available at the auction in 2.5 years. Greetings to Master He. Many in the crowd turned to look at the private box, recognizing this dignified elder. They knew he was a famous alchemy master from the Jiuxiao marketplace. Chapter 469. Special Monster Core, Minor Forbidden Formation. Master He truly commands great respect, with many Foundation establishment cultivators giving up the competition one after another. Even quite a few people called out greetings, planning to visit Master He after the event, bringing along auxiliary materials in hopes of requesting a foundation establishment elixir. 13,000 spirit stones. But Lu Changxing didn't care in the slightest, showing no regard for Master He called out his bid. The moment this voice rang out, the other people in the venue turned their gaze towards the private box where Lu Changxing was seated. 13,500 spirit stones. Master He also looked towards the private box where Lu Changxing was, snorted coldly, and raised the bid by 500 spirit stones. The price of a foundation establishment elixir is around 20,000 spirit stones. The price of this monster core, plus the auxiliary materials, comes to about 20,000 spirit stones. If it's only used to refine a single foundation establishment elixir, there's hardly any profit to be made. However, for alchemists, many times being able to break even isn't too bad. After all, each alchemy session is also a chance to accumulate experience and improve proficiency. 15,000 spirit stones. Lu Changxing directly made a substantial increase to the bid. With second-rank alchemy skills at his disposal, he was confident that he could refine 3 foundation establishment elixirs. Even amongst the 3 foundation establishment elixirs, one could be a supreme foundation establishment elixir. Thus, he was determined to win this special monster core. Fellow Daoist, I am He Mao. Seeing Lu Changxing bidding like this, Master He said coldly. What? Can one use their status to oppress others at an auction? Lu Changxing spoke indifferently. At these words, He Mao's face turned from green to white. He was, after all, a prominent figure in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Even revealing his identity, the price for this monster core was about at its limit. Unexpectedly, Lu Changxing was giving him no face at all. He gritted his teeth and bid, 16,000 spirit stones. 17,000 spirit stones. Lu Changxing spoke calmly. 18,000 spirit stones. Master He continued to bid. 20,000 spirit stones. Lu Changxing spoke out blandly. Facing this situation, Master He stopped bidding. Although he had a 50% chance of refining 2 foundation establishment elixirs, collecting auxiliary materials and the time and effort spent on alchemy wasn't worth a higher bid. Moreover, Lu Changxing's bids, which showed no regard for Master He's status, made him cautious, not wanting to offend him. Who is this person, actually spending 20,000 spirit stones to buy this special monster core? The price of a foundation establishment elixir is just that. Could this person also be an alchemy master, or perhaps he knows an alchemy master? How is that possible? Where would so many alchemy masters come from? Right, there are only so many renowned alchemy masters in Immortal City. Maybe he just needs this special monster core, like for helping his spirit beast to advance. In the venue, the high price fetched by this monster core stirred up quite a bit of discussion. After all, usually, the price for a special monster core maxes out at 15,000 spirit stones. Shortly after, the second-rank special monster core was delivered. After Lu Changxing examined it, he stored it away in a jade box. In the cultivation world, many heavenly and earthly treasures must be stored in special treasure boxes. Otherwise, they will leak spiritual energy. After the auction of the second-rank monster core ended, Lu Changxing lost interest in the subsequent items and did not participate. Besides, having spent more than 30,000 spirit stones at this auction on 3 items and flaunting his wealth, he might attract unwanted attention. Fellow Daoists, the auction has now concluded, and next is the exchange meeting, the free trade segment. Interested Daoists may head to the side hall. The woman in the red dress spoke, declaring the auction over. Hearing this, Lu Changxing spoke to the auction's maid, expressing his interest in participating in the exchange meeting. This was one of his reasons for attending the auction. Within the cultivation world, many cultivators obtain rare heavenly and earthly treasures and prefer not to sell them for spirit stones. Instead, they engage in bartering to seek the items they need. Upon hearing this, the maid asked Lu Changxing if he needed to conceal his identity. The venue provided capes and masks. Truly fitting of Immortal City, such thorough arrangements. Lu Changxing, hearing this, picked up a cape and mask. However, this set of mask and cape required 300 spirit stones. Lu Changxing made his way to the side hall through a secret passage. Upon entering the hall, he perceived that a certain formation was in place that could affect others' divine senses. Combined with the mask and cape, one's identity could hardly be discerned. However, in the side hall, only about half of the people had chosen to conceal their identities. Many openly revealed their true appearances. Presumably, these individuals either had lived in Jiuxiao Immortal City for a long time or weren't afraid of being targeted. A quarter hour later, when the side hall gathered around 40 to 50 people, the exchange meeting officially began. The way of trading was straightforward. Each person spoke in turn to present the resources they were selling or to specify what they wanted to buy. Chapter 470. Purchase completed, Dragon Roar Physique. Understood. As the lady in the blue dress spoke, many eyes in the hall turned towards her. Lu Changxing also showed surprise, looking at the blue-dressed woman. An almost third-rank formation inheritance. A complete set of the inverted 5 elements formation's restricted artifacts. Both of these items were incredibly rare, especially the artifacts for the inverted 5 elements formation. This formation was quite famous. Even Lu Changxing, with his limited knowledge of formations, had heard of it. It belonged to the second-tier top-level formations. It was known as the miniature forbidden formation. Apart from its average coverage area and lack of offensive capabilities, it was first-rate in defense, concealment, illusion, confusion, restriction, and trapping enemies. Logically, such a powerful formation would decisively not be possible to set up with mere formation artifacts. It would require an array master skilled in this formation to spend months at a location, consuming vast amounts of labor and resources to establish it. Yet at this moment, the woman in the blue dress claimed to possess a set of restricted formation artifacts for the inverted 5 elements formation, which was astonishing. This set of inverted 5 elements formation artifacts is just a simplified version. Relying on the formation artifacts, it can only unleash 1/10 of the formation's full power, explained the lady in the blue dress, seeing the many gazes upon her. Her eyes clear, her expression tranquil and elegant. No wonder. That explains it. Upon hearing her words, many in the audience showed a look of realization on their faces. However, there were also many with calm expressions, evidently already aware of this fact. It seems this lady is also a well-known array master in Jiuxiao Immortal City, Lu Changxing pondered inwardly as he looked at the woman in the blue dress. His trip to Jiuxiao Immortal City wasn't solely for purchasing goods. He was also considering whether he could meet any array masters and obtain a formation path inheritance to solve the issue of his family's great formation in the future. After all, obtaining formation skills through the system was unpredictable. As for asking Xiaoxia to request an array master from Qingyun sect, he had put that option last. Because having a Qingyun sect's array master set up the family great formation would surely result in Qingyun sect understanding the inner workings of the formation thoroughly. Therefore, his preference was to set up the formation himself or find an array master elsewhere to do it. This lady in the blue dress held a nearly third-rank formation path inheritance, was able to produce a simplified version of the inverted 5 elements formation artifacts, and could set up second-rank formations for others. Her accomplishments in the formation path were probably out of the ordinary. Lu Changxing thought it would be worthwhile to establish a connection with her. Putting aside anything else, just for the inverted 5 elements formation, in his view, it could serve as the family's internal great formation. Fellow Daoist, may we discuss this in detail? Lu Changxing inquired of the woman in blue. Certainly, replied the woman in blue upon hearing Lu Changxing's words, nodding slightly, her demeanor graceful. Immediately, the two of them moved to a private compartment. I'd like to ask if you are able to set up a complete inverted 5 elements formation and a second-rank family great formation, Lu Changxing asked aloud. Formations are categorized as standard formations, advanced level formations, and large formations. The several sets sold at the auction earlier were all standard formations. You don't need to be well-versed in formations. They can be used simply by following the instructions provided with the formation artifacts. Formations like the inverted 5 elements formation fall into the category of advanced level formations. They can't be established with formation artifacts alone. An array master must set them up. As for formations that envelop an entire family spirit land, they are considered large formations. These are the most difficult. Many second-rank array masters may not be able to set up even a low-grade second-rank family great formation. Even if they can set it up, the power and effectiveness are often quite average. I can set up both a complete inverted 5 elements formation and a second-rank large formation, said the woman in the blue dress. But these 2 formations require too much time, and now my life is less than a year, so I do not take on such large formations, she said with a beautiful face, appearing somewhat surprised by the inquiry, and spoke softly. She mentioned her life expectancy was less than a year with a calm and composed demeanor. Less than a year left to live? Lu Changsheng replied with some surprise. Upon closer inspection, he noticed that indeed the woman's appearance wasn't very healthy. It seemed she had some health issues and needed cold attribute spiritual medicines or heavenly treasures to extend her life. Do you have any cold items? If fellow Daoist possesses some rare cold treasure that can extend my life, even a second-rank middle-grade great formation, I could set up for you, the woman in the blue dress said to Lu Changsheng, her voice crisp. I don't have any cold treasures, but I am an alchemist capable of refining second-rank ice cloud elixirs and ice soul elixirs, Lu Changsheng responded. I wonder if those would help you? Both elixir medicines were of upper grade within the second rank. If she needed cold spiritual medicine, these 2 elixir medicines should be helpful. Chapter 471. Purchase completed, Dragon Roar Physique. If he could solve her Boda's problem, he might not only be able to ask her to set up a formation, but also possibly invite her to his home to preside as a guest elder. I possess the Dragon Roar Physique. During my breakthrough to Foundation establishment, excessive yang energy burst forth, leading to an imbalance between yin and yang in my body, withering meridians and dantian, and my life is not long. I can only rely on cold attribute spiritual medicines and heavenly materials to extend my life, the woman in the blue dress said calmly. This situation of hers was no secret in Jiuxiao Immortal City, so she spoke about it openly. Dragon Roar Physique? Lu Changsheng was surprised to hear this. Due to previously researching Bai Ling's bodily condition, he had thoroughly supplemented his knowledge on spiritual bodies. He happened to know about the Dragon Roar Physique. It is a rare recessive constitution. The spiritual body will awaken gradually with growth and cultivation. During the awakening process, one will have robust yang energy and powerful blood, similar to a dragon, making rapid progress in cultivation. It is indeed a top-level spiritual body. However, this spiritual body has a disadvantage. It is only suitable for males. If a female possesses this spiritual body, as she cultivates, the yang energy will become increasingly overwhelming, resulting in an imbalance of yin and yang energy consuming the body, and the withering of meridians and dantian. Unexpectedly, the woman before him was a female with the Dragon Roar Physique. This made Lu Changsheng feel regretful. If a male had this spiritual body, he would probably soar to the heavens and have a limitless future. That is to say, this Dragon Roar Physique is caused by an excess of yang energy, leading to an imbalance of yin and yang inside the body. If one uses the Dragon Invocation technique to harvest and plunder this yang energy, or even plunder the very origin of the Dragon Roar Physique's spiritual body, would it not solve the condition of the Dragon Roar Physique? Lu Changsheng paused in thought. He suddenly remembered the yin-yang harmony technique he once acquired, which contains a cultivation method called the Dragon Invocation technique. This technique is extremely domineering. It can not only harvest the female cultivator's vital essence and true yin, but if the female cultivator has a special spiritual body, it can also harvest the core of her spiritual Boda's unique characteristics. Now, hearing the words of the woman in the blue dress, He pondered whether he could use this method to solve her dragon roar physique problem and extend her life. If I were to extend her life, solving the dragon roar physique issue, it wouldn't be too much to ask her to become a guest elder for my child's mother, right? Lu Changxing reflected inwardly while strategizing. Although the woman in front of him was just above average in appearance, not an absolute beauty, beautiful exteriors are a dime a dozen. At his level, appearance had become a secondary consideration. As long as she wasn't ugly, just looking pleasant to the eye was enough. Moreover, she had an exceptional temperament and was not just a foundation establishment cultivator, but also an array master. These three qualities greatly surpassed countless stunning beauties. If he could bring her home, it would be a significant boost. He was planning to build a cultivation family. He needed help. It couldn't all depend on himself. Does fellow Daoist know how to resolve this constitution? The woman in the blue dress looked at Lu Changxing lost in thought, ripples appearing in her calm, clear eyes like a tranquil lake. She had started her cultivation journey at a young age under a unique individual. In cultivation and the formation path, she had exceptional talent and had always had a smooth journey. But, to her utmost surprise, when she was breaking through to foundation establishment, the long-hidden dragon roar physique erupted, nearly costing her life. To extend her life and resolve the issue of the dragon roar physique, she traveled far and wide to Jiuxiao Immortal City. She even spent countless spirit stones and heavenly materials to invite a nascent soul immortal from the city to diagnose her condition. But after examining, the nascent soul immortal also expressed regret. He said that at this point, it was beyond saving. If she hadn't embarked on cultivation, she could have lived her life peacefully. But she didn't just cultivate, she also made it to foundation establishment. Despite this, she chose not to give up. Depending on her mastery of formations, she earned spirit stones in the city, purchasing various spiritual medicines and heavenly materials to preserve her life. So, as long as there was a chance, an opportunity to extend her life, she was unwilling to give up. Yi has a secret technique that might solve fellow Daoist's problem. However, I haven't brought the technique with me right now. May I contact you in a couple of days? Lu Changxing looked into her shining eyes and said after a brief pause. Although the dragon invocation technique, in theory, could solve her dragon roar physique issue, he couldn't guarantee it with absolute certainty. After all, it involved the spiritual body, which isn't that simple. And this method of resolution was somewhat abrupt, making it hard to believe. So, Lu Changxing planned to bring out the dragon invocation technique later on, pay her a visit, and let her review it before discussing the details of the transaction further. My name is Ling Zixiao. Later, fellow Daoists can find me at Zixiao Array Formations shop in the city, Ling Zixiao replied with an elegant smile. Very well, in a few days ye shall visit fellow Daoist Ling. Lu Changxing made a gesture of respect. He thought that since she didn't conceal her identity, she must indeed be a resident of Jiuxiao Immortal City. Later, he could also inquire through the 100 Dawn Chamber about her general character. Immediately afterward, the two left the private room and continued participating in the trading event. During the process, Lu Changxing announced the items he wanted to purchase, successfully acquiring the last material needed for the 99 Profound Truth strategy and several portions of third-rank spiritual blood. The only disappointment was that the Foundation Establishment Elixir's main auxiliary ingredient, transforming dragon ginseng, had been traded away by someone else. This trip to the Immortal City can be considered a complete success. After the trading event ended, Lu Changxing walked out of the auction venue, breathed a sigh of relief. During his more than a month in Jiuxiao Immortal City, he purchased all materials for third-rank talisman making, the 99 Profound Truth strategy, and the gentle spiritual blood needed for his daughter Lu Wangshu to awaken her blood talisman spiritual body. Chapter 472. Purchase completed, Dragon Roar Physique. He even inadvertently acquired a special second-rank monster core. The only thing to mention is that the materials for making third-rank talismans are a bit scarce. However, to draw a third-rank talisman, I still lack a third-rank talisman brush. If I don't have one, I'll have to make do with a second-tier top-level talisman brush. Lu Changsheng pondered to himself. The talisman brush he currently uses is of second-rank high-grade quality. It is naturally no problem to use it for making second-rank talismans. But if I want to make third-rank talismans, I must upgrade the talisman brush. Yet, in Jiuxiao Immortal City, there are no third-rank talisman brushes for sale. So, he planned to collect the bounty from the Heavenly Sword sect tomorrow to see if there might be a third-rank talisman brush available. Lu Changxing went to the 100 Dawn Chamber and spent 800 spirit stones to buy detailed information about Ling Zixiao from the Zixiao Formation Pavilion. 5th grade spiritual root, at the early stages of foundation establishment. 3 years ago, she came to Jiuxiao Immortal City alone. Relying on her high-grade second-rank formation skills, she earned spirit stones by setting up formations for others. But because of her dragon roar physique, she has been constantly seeking various cold attribute spiritual medicines and treasures of heaven and earth. The information also mentioned that it was estimated Ling Zixiao could only live for another half a year. In just 3 years, she has made a name for herself in Jiuxiao Immortal City through her knowledge of formations, which is indeed extraordinary. If it weren't for the setback of the dragon roar physique, this woman would likely have the potential to reach core formation. Lu Changxing muttered to himself as he read through the information about Ling Zixiao. He gained some understanding of this woman. He knew that such a woman was not the naive and innocent type. If he wanted her to be the mother of his child, it would not be easy. He did not think too much about it and returned home to take out 2 technique jade slips. Through his divine sense, he imprinted the secret technique, Dragon Invocation Technique, into the 2 technique jade slips. After all, in a trade like this, you definitely couldn't let someone see the entire secret technique at once. So he split the technique into 2 parts and imprinted it onto 2 jade slips. This woman, under the backlash of yang qi due to the dragon roar physique, can only rely on cold spiritual medicines to prolong her life. Now that her lifespan is less than a year, her physical condition is probably not very optimistic. Relying solely on the Dragon Invocation Technique to plunder yang qi and the origin source of the spiritual body is likely not enough to solve the problem. Moreover, the Dragon Invocation Technique is incredibly domineering and is an energy drain technique, which inflicts considerable harm on the body of a female cultivator. Lu Changxing thought of her situation, his eyes narrowing slightly. He took out another technique jade slip and imprinted several secret techniques into it. If she was willing to become the mother of his child, Lu Changxing was also willing to pay a certain price to help her as much as possible. After all, she was indeed a rare talent worth paying a certain price for. The next morning, Lu Changxing left Jiuxiao Immortal City. He changed his identity and appearance, reissued an identity plaque, and went to the enforcement hall of Jiuxiao Mountain to collect the bounty. Now that the auction had ended, and he had almost finished purchasing the items he needed, there was no need to delay the bounty on these 2 robber cultivators any longer. Upon arriving at the enforcement hall, Lu Changxing declared he had slain the male and female demon duo on the wanted list, and immediately a disciple of the enforcement hall led him to a side hall. Lu Changxing took out the coffins from his storage bag, opened the coffin lids, revealing the corpses of the 2 robber cultivators. The disciple first took out a white pearl and placed it on the foreheads of the 2, quietly sensing. He then released a demon beast that sniffed at the 2 bodies. After confirming their identities, he asked Lu Changxing to wait and called an executor from the enforcement hall. Indeed, these are the male and female demon duo, Fang Qianduan and Huang Qixia. Fellow Daoist, by slaying these 2 the bounty totals 48,000, each point of bounty money can be exchanged for 1 spirit stone, or for equivalent value in elixir medicines, magic artifacts, secret techniques, or treasures of heaven and earth, the executor said to Lu Changxing after inspecting the bodies. 48,000 in bounty money, Lu Changxing responded with a slight nod. He acknowledged that the 2 were worth 48,000 spirit stones. It was not a very high amount, but it was not small either. Moreover, such bounty money could be exchanged for many scarce commodities not available on the market. It was not something that could be measured with a one-to-one spirit stone conversion. Do you have a third-rank talisman brush for exchange? Lu Changsheng asked aloud. A third-rank talisman brush? The shopkeeper, hearing Lu Changsheng's words, was somewhat surprised. Because talisman pens, unlike other magic artifacts, did not possess combat capabilities aside from talisman making. They were needed only by talisman masters. It was also rare for people to exchange for a third-rank talisman pen. Are you a third-rank talisman master? The shopkeeper asked, his tone now more polite. Even within the Heavenly Sword sect, they would treat a third-rank talisman master as an honored guest, offering them a guest elder's stipend. Elder is joking. I am merely acquainted with a second-rank talisman master and wish to gift them a third-rank talisman pen, Lu Changsheng said indifferently. We have third-rank talisman pens. Upon hearing this, the shopkeeper asked no further questions. He immediately took out an album, which displayed several third-rank talisman pens. However, these talisman pens were all quite expensive. The cheapest ones cost 50,000 in bounties. Elder, is there any way to make up the remaining bounties besides completing more bounty tasks? Lu Changsheng inquired. If that was the case, he found it rather troublesome. If you're only short 2,000 in bounties, you can pay 4,000 spirit stones, and it'll make up the difference for you, the shopkeeper stated. 2 spirit stones for 1 bounty, that's fucking extortion. Lu Changsheng cursed inwardly upon hearing this. But the thought of undertaking tasks for a mere 2,000 bounties did not appeal to him. After all, finding criminals wasn't so easy. Thank you for your trouble, Elder. Lu Changsheng took out 4,000 spirit stones and exchanged them for the cheapest third-rank talisman pen. For him, a third-rank low-quality talisman pen would suffice for a long period. I didn't expect that someone would exchange for a talisman pen. It's quite rare. After Lu Changsheng had left, the shopkeeper shook his head slightly. Most bounty hunters would use their bounties to exchange for rare elixir medicines or some sort of exotic treasure. Few people exchanged for magic artifacts, let alone talisman pens. But he didn't pay it much mind. Finally, everything is ready. Later, I can try drawing a third-rank spirit talisman. If I use the third-rank spirit talisman as the main and supplement it with second-rank spirit talismans, the power of the talisman formation could go up another level. Lu Changsheng was not too grieved about parting with his 4,000 spirit stones. After all, money is meant to be spent. He left Jiuxiao Immortal City, changed his identity, and arrived at the Zishao Formation shop in the inner city district. May I ask what the customer would like to purchase? As soon as he entered, he was greeted. I have an appointment with Ling, fellow Daoist. Please notify them, Lu Changsheng spoke. He did not conceal his cultivation aura, so upon hearing his request, the shopkeeper was very cordial and invited him to sit and wait to the side, then went upstairs to inform. Before long, a woman dressed in a light blue skirt, her appearance elegant and calm, with a graceful figure, Ling Zixiao, descended from upstairs. Fellow Daoist Ling, we had an agreement at yesterday's auction, hence my visit today, Lu Changsheng said, greeting Ling Zixiao with a clasped hand. Please, fellow Daoist. Ling Zixiao, recognizing Lu Changsheng's identity upon hearing him, immediately invited him with a graceful, composed smile to the guest hall on the 2nd floor. Even though she was extremely eager to know about the secret technique Lu Changsheng had mentioned before that could solve her dragon roar physique issue, she still maintained a calm composure like a chrysanthemum, pouring him some spiritual tea. Fellow Daoist Ling, you can take a look at this secret technique and see if it can solve the issue with your dragon roar physique. Lu Changsheng, after taking a sip of the spiritual tea, took out a jade slip and said. Chapter 473. Fell for Ling at first sight, hence wanted to become Dao companions. _1 Ling Zixiao took the technique jade slip and checked its contents with her divine sense. A moment later, she retracted her mental spirit. A faint blush emerged on the contours of her pretty face. Unexpectedly, the cultivation technique Lu Changsheng spoke of turned out to be a secret replenishing technique. Fellow Daoist, this secret technique is indeed extraordinary, and it might just resolve my dragon roar physique. However, my current condition, with yang energy eroding my meridians and dantian, has reached a critical stage. I fear that I can't withstand such a secret technique for replenishment. Ling Zixiao spoke with a soft sigh. She had spent 3 years in Jiuxiao Immortal City, seeking countless methods. Among them, there were methods to suppress the dragon roar physique. But since her breakthrough to foundation establishment, the dragon roar physique erupted completely, yang energy ravaged her body, her meridians and dantian withered away, making it impossible to recover. Ling Daoist, may I take a look at your condition? Lu Changsheng said upon hearing these words. He had previously speculated that Ling Zixiao, with yang energy scorching her body and withered meridians and dantian, might not be able to withstand the replenishment from dragon invocation technique. Therefore, he had prepared other backups. However, he still needed to see Ling Zixiao's condition before making a judgment. Please do, fellow Daoist. Ling Zixiao graciously rolled up her sleeves, revealing her slender wrist. Below her clear, jade-like wrist, one could see the pale azure, transparent veins. Lu Changsheng took hold of her wrist and injected a thread of his divine sense and mana to inspect her condition. After a short while, Lu Changsheng's brows furrowed deeply. He knew Ling Zixiao's condition was bad, but he hadn't expected it to be this severe. Within her blood and meridians flowed an extremely yang qi, constantly eroding her flesh, meridians, and viscera. As a result, her meridians were nearly withered. Her foundation establishment mana, probably only 1 or 2% could be displayed. If she were to exert herself fully, she would likely rupture her meridians and dantian and perish like a broken jade. Under such circumstances, trying to replenish through dragon invocation technique posed a significant risk. After all, dragon invocation technique is a very domineering replenishing secret technique. To replenish the dragon roar of yang energy and spiritual body origin source in her body was bound to damage her fundamental bodily functions. And Ling Zixiao's current physique was akin to a porcelain filled with cracks. It couldn't withstand the slightest disturbance. It would shatter upon touch. Dragon invocation technique must be cultivated to an exceedingly high level to precisely replenish another's spiritual body origin source during replenishment, while yin-yang nirvana art must be cultivated to the highest realm to reverse yin and yang, transforming replenishment into restoration. Furthermore, when her life was at stake, such a person would be willing to burn their origin essence with life transference technique, sacrificing their own lifespan to save hers. For a cultivator, lifespan is precious. How many cultivators are willing to spend their own life to heal another? Sigh. Ling Zixiao exhaled lightly. She looked at Lu Changsheng with clear, lucid eyes and asked in a lilting voice, "Fellow Daoist, your preparations are so thorough. Surely your intention isn't simply to gain my formation legacy or to have me set up formations, is it?" Having spent many years in Jiuxiao Immortal City, she had experienced a lot. Through these 3 secret techniques, she surmised Lu Changsheng came well prepared with more than simple goals. Since Ling Daoist asks so, ye will no longer beat around the bush, Lu Changsheng said with a light chuckle. As he spoke, his body was enveloped in light, unraveling the camouflage of the misty sky bead. Suddenly, the once heroic face with a touch of roughness transformed into that of a striking and elegant youth with peerless beauty and an ethereal demeanor. Chapter 474. Fell for Ling at first sight, hence wanted to become Dao companions. The young man, clad in a green robe, stood tall and straight, embodying a fresh vigor that was calming to the heart, simply by sitting still. "I'm planning to establish a family power and I need an array master to hold the fort. Yesterday, I was smitten with Ling Zixiao at first sight, so I wish to form a Dao companion bond with you, to support each other and cultivate the great Dao together. If Ling Daoist's friend is willing, I will do everything in my power to help you resolve the issues with your dragon roar physique. Of course, if Ling Daoist's friend is unwilling, I won't force the issue. These 3 secret techniques can be exchanged for other goods. Lu Changsheng reverted to his true appearance, his face handsome and otherworldly, and finished the tea in his cup in one gulp before speaking out. After reading Ling Zixio's message yesterday, he had been considering making her the mother of his child. Not only was Ling Zixiao an array master, he was preparing to establish a family. A family could not stand on one person alone. He couldn't handle everything by himself. Nowadays, cultivation, childbearing, talisman making, alchemy, and educating his children were already keeping him quite busy. Even if he won a formation through the system lottery, it would still consume a great deal of his time and energy. Moreover, once the family was established, there would be even more issues and troubles. Relying on the children he currently had at home would be difficult to manage. Therefore, many matters would eventually fall upon him as their father. He needed someone to share the burdens with him. Ling Zixiao was not just an array master. She was also a foundation establishment cultivator. If the family had another foundation establishment cultivator, it would greatly ease his burdens. Moreover, Ling Zixiao had an exceptional talent and potential for improvement both in her cultivation level and the formation path. Such a talented and unattached female cultivator was a golden opportunity he intended to seize and make her the mother of his child. After all, given his current status, having a mere concubine to bear children was hardly an issue. What he needed now were wives like Xiao Siye and Lu Miaoge, who could not only bear children but also share worries and difficulties, build the family, and support each other on the cultivation journey. A wife, a Dao companion. He saw Ling Zixiao as just that kind. She came to Jiuxiao Immortal City alone and made a name for herself through her mastery of formation paths. This spoke not just of her talent and knowledge of formations but also her acumen and abilities. However, this also meant she was not a naive and easily flustered girl. Winning her over to become the mother of his child would not be easy. I shall accompany you another day. Ling Zixio's cheeks were flushingly enticing, and her eyes roamed as she exhaled a breath as fragrant as orchids. With that, her eyes slightly downcast, she hurriedly straightened her disheveled dress, her heart pounding. Although she didn't reject becoming intimate with Lu Changsheng and had psychologically prepared herself, this pace was still a bit overwhelming for her. Hee, no worries, there is plenty of time ahead. Attend to your affairs first. Lu Changsheng watched the lovely figure before him, chuckled, and seemed unconcerned about the truth of her words. Since the matter had been decided, he wasn't eager to immediately conquer Ling Zixiao. It was only right to give her some time to prepare. Besides, they were currently in her shop's guest lounge, which wasn't very convenient. Zixiao, if you need anything, you can come find me at Treasure Elixir Pavilion. I will mostly be there these days, Lu Changsheng announced. He had previously promised the sisters of the Li family to attend the alchemist position. Therefore, he would stay in the Immortal City for another month. This month would be just enough time to concoct elixir medicines for Ling Zixiao and resolve the issue of her dragon roar physique. Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Upon hearing this name, Ling Zixiao was somewhat surprised. Having lived in Jiuxiao Immortal City for many years, she certainly knew of Treasure Elixir Pavilion. She had also heard that a new alchemy master had been invited to the pavilion not long ago. But she hadn't paid much attention to the news. Now, hearing Lu Changsheng's words, she immediately realized that this alchemy master at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion was none other than Lu Changsheng himself. All right, once I have attended to my affairs, I will seek out Lu Lang. If you need anything, you can also come find me at any time, Ling Zixiao said, her head slightly bowed and her face still flushed with an attractive rosy hue. Emchim. Lu Changxing nodded, and with a slight shift of his mental spirit, his entire body glowed. His handsome visage instantly transformed into that of a ruggedly attractive middle-aged man in his 30s. His presence and demeanor also changed in an instant. What an astonishing illusion disguise technique! Ling Zixiao, witnessing this transformation, couldn't help but marvel internally as there was no trace of Lu Changsheng's disguise to be detected. Lu Lang, allow me to see you out, Ling Zixiao offered, intending to rise. Given your current state, there's no need for you to see me off, Lu Changsheng said with a smile, noting the blush on Ling Zixiao's face. Upon hearing this, she didn't insist any further. Ha! After watching Lu Changxing leave, Ling Zixiao sighed deeply, the shy color on her face dissipating. She tidied her clothes and hair, and with a cleansing technique, she immediately restored her dignified and graceful appearance. Lu Changxing, she murmured the name to herself. Chapter 477. Asking for more guidance from Lu Lang she had been cultivating since she was young, immersed in the formation path. She had never considered emotional matters. After her breakthrough to foundation establishment, especially because of her dragon roar physique, she devoted all her energy to the formation path and life extension. Having been so busy for many years, with less than 1 year of life remaining, she felt a hint of loneliness in her heart. Lu Changsheng's marriage proposal, although full of utilitarianism and interest exchange, piqued her interest, and she entertained the idea of giving it a try. After all, when one is about to die, naturally there are fewer concerns. Thus, she decided to accept decisively, to give it a shot and take a gamble. At worst, it would just mean death. However, the actions of Lu Changxing, the oath against the heart demon, and the signing of the spiritual contract reassured her quite a bit. She knew that Lu Changxing must have some confidence in saving her. As for the future, they could only take it one step at a time. However, this person is probably not any ordinary cultivator. Ling Zixiao thought of Lu Changsheng's adept actions just now that had left her feeling weak and breathless, and she scoffed lightly. Then, she left the shop and went to the Heaven Knowledge Tower in the Immortal City. This was the largest intelligence organization in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Its background was very mysterious, not only spreading across the Jiang country cultivation realm but also throughout the surrounding cultivation countries. I want to buy information. Do you have any about this person? In the Qingyun region, his name is Lu Changxing. Ling Zixiao arrived on the second floor of Heaven Knowledge Tower, inside a room, and lightly tapped, making a water mirror appear. Shown in the water mirror was the image of Lu Changxing. However, this water mirror could only reveal Lu Changsheng's facial features and couldn't capture his immortal-like demeanor. Qingyun region, Lu Changxing? The attendant was a person dressed in black. She glanced at the face in the water mirror, then took out a crystal and held it against her forehead with both hands. After a while, the information on this person was last updated 2 years ago. The price is 300 spirit stones. The person in black announced the price. 2 years ago, 300 spirit stones? Ling Zixiao was slightly surprised upon hearing the price. Okay, she nodded immediately and took out spirit stones from her storage bag. With this jade slip, when you purchase subsequent information about this person in the future, you will only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones, the black-clothed person said after taking the spirit stones, handing her a white jade slip. Understood, Ling Zixiao nodded. Given the situation at Treasure Elixir Pavilion before, it was evident that the Li family was intent on forcing the sisters into a difficult position in Immortal City. Now, with his presence revitalizing the business at Treasure Elixir Pavilion, it was sure to have irked the Li family. So this visit was likely to bode ill. It's fine, just inform me the next time he comes over, he said casually to the young girl. Over the past month, his impression of the Li sisters had been quite favorable. He was also willing to lend them a hand. Thank you, Senior Yi. Li Xingyia's cute face immediately lit up with joy upon hearing this. The visit from the Li family yesterday had caused her much worry. She was afraid of causing trouble for Lu Changxing, and she was concerned that Lu Changxing would hence leave Treasure Elixir Pavilion because of it. No worries, I'm here. I'm off to refine some elixirs. Let me know if you need anything, Lu Changxing said with a smile. He made his way to the alchemy chamber in the backyard. At that moment, Li Xingrua was in the midst of alchemy. Seeing Lu Changxing's arrival, she immediately showed a delighted expression. It was clear she was also troubled by the Li family's visit. Senior Yi, if this matter is going to cause trouble for you, you can leave, Li Xingrua said to Lu Changxing, her voice low and lips slightly pursed. She knew she couldn't secure a resident alchemist because of her family. But she never expected the Li family to go so far as to send someone directly to her. This made her both angry and annoyed. Since I've agreed to be your resident alchemist and accepted your spirit stones, how could I just leave like that? Don't worry, take it easy, Lu Changxing said with a light chuckle, patting Li Xingrua on the head. He could understand the worries of the Li sisters, but to him, this was hardly any trouble. After all, the Li family, plainly speaking, was just a foundation establishment family. If he were worried about trouble, he would not have accepted the position of resident alchemist in the first place. Li Xingrua felt an unprecedented sense of security when she heard the calm and gentle words of Lu Changxing and felt his generous hand on her head, reminiscent of times when her father was around, and she didn't have to worry or think too much about anything. Thank you, Senior Yi, Li Xingrua said softly, her lips pursed. Just be at ease. I've got everything under control, Lu Changxing said, waving his hand nonchalantly. As he spoke, he took out a jade slip, made a list, and handed it to Li Xingrua. Xingrua, when you have time, help me acquire these few types of spiritual medicines. Although he had purchased many alchemy spirit medicines, they were all for refining breakthrough elixirs, second-rank breakthrough elixirs, Three Suns elixirs, harmonizing energy elixirs, and true essence elixirs that were useful to him. It wasn't possible to buy just any spiritual medicine. This list contains some auxiliary materials for the foundation establishment elixir, as well as ingredients needed to refine a life-saving elixir for Ling Zixiao. Certainly, Senior Yi, Li Xingrua replied upon hearing his request, taking the jade slip and responding immediately. Your elixir is almost ready. Lu Changxing glanced at the nearby pill furnace and reminded her. Li Xingrua promptly snapped back to attention, watching the pill furnace with a serious expression. As soon as the spiritual mechanism of the furnace activated, she formed hand seals with both hands and called out, "Solidify! Open!" After the elixirs solidified, the lid of the furnace flew open and the pills soared out. You didn't grasp the timing for the elixir condensation just now, and the heat was a bit too strong earlier, causing some of the medicinal effects in the liquid to evaporate. Lu Changxing pointed out the issues immediately after seeing the elixirs, which resulted in 9 successful pills, 2 waste pills, and 3 inferior pills. Thank you for the guidance, Senior Yi, Li Xingrua said thoughtfully as she nodded her head. She then tried another batch, looking to review and improve. Senior Yi. Just then, Li Xingyia's voice came from outside. What's the matter? Lu Changxing asked promptly. The member of the Li family who came to visit you is here, Li Xingyu said. Chapter 478. Indeed no decent person. Start healing. _1 I didn't expect the Li family to come so soon. It seems they must have someone keeping watch near the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. Otherwise, how could they have shown up just after I returned? Alright, I'll take a look. Lu Changxing stepped out of the alchemy chamber and prepared to see what they wanted. Li Xingrua also went out with him. The three of them arrived at the shop's main hall. There stood a man in his 30s, dressed in an ink-colored magical robe, with a gaunt face. Upon seeing Lu Changxing and the two sisters approaching, he immediately greeted them respectfully. Li Changhu of the Li family, at your service, Master Yi. What can I do for you? There's an old saying that one shouldn't slap a smiling face. Seeing how polite the other party was, Lu Changxing didn't respond with cold words but spoke indifferently instead. I've heard of Master Ye's great reputation, and I've specially come to pay my respects. Li Changhu took out a beautifully crafted gift box from his storage bag and politely said, "No need for gifts. If you have something to say, speak. If there's nothing, I have alchemy to do." Lu Changxing looked at the behavior of the other party, his expression indifferent, without any sign of fluctuation, and said. He wondered what the Li family meant by this visit. It didn't seem like they were here to cause trouble. Or perhaps it was a strategy to first offer gifts and then troopers. To prevent him from interfering in the matter between the Li sisters and the Li family? Hearing that Master Yi has recently arrived in Immortal City, our Li family wishes to inquire whether Master Yi intends to settle down here. Our Li family's base, Great Cliff Mountain, is not far from Immortal City. Our clan doesn't only have 4 foundation establishment great cultivators but also inheritance from a second-rank alchemist. I have come to invite Master Yi to become a guest elder for our Li family, as long as Master Yi is willing, Li Changhu said with a smile and in a polite tone, indicating the intention of his visit. Upon hearing this, Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu, the 2 sisters, glared at Li Changhu in anger. It was precisely because of the Li family that their treasure elixir pavilion had always failed to invite a presiding alchemist. Now that they finally had Lu Changxing, the Li family immediately sent someone over, causing them considerable irritation. I have already signed a contract with the treasure elixir pavilion. I'm now the presiding alchemist of the shop. So please, you should leave, Lu Changxing said directly upon hearing this. Since that is the case, I have intruded. Still, please accept this token of goodwill, Li Changhu said upon hearing this, not insisting further. His main purpose for coming was to test the relationship between Lu Changxing and the Li sisters. And now, judging by Lu Changxing's attitude, he mostly understood that Lu Changxing did not hold the Li family in high regard and was clearly on the sisters' side. I don't accept rewards without merit, no need for gifts, Lu Changxing said, waving his hand. Master Yi, actually, I came here to apologize to my 2 nieces and to clarify the misunderstanding from the past, Li Changhu sighed and said out loud. He implied there was a misunderstanding between Li Xingrua and her sister and the family from the beginning. The family had no ill will towards the Li sisters originally. It was merely because a foundation establishment ancestor had some grievances with their parents, resulting in domineering actions. But before the matter was settled and dealt with by the family elder, Li Xingrua abruptly abandoned the family's assets, taking her sister and leaving the family, severing ties, rendering the situation distinctly stiff. Otherwise, considering their parents' contributions and Li Xingruo's talent in alchemy, how could the Li family act in such a way? Over these years, had the sisters admitted their mistake, the family wouldn't have held past issues against them and would have treated them well once more. There's no misunderstanding. We sisters no longer have ties with the Li family and want return, Li Xingrua said coldly, her face frosty. She wasn't naive. There might have been misunderstandings in the Li family's past. But this year's events had thoroughly chilled her heart. How could she believe these words? To lightly mention misunderstanding and sweep all past affairs under the rug? If it genuinely was a misunderstanding, why would the Li family wait until now to send Li Changhu to apologize and clear things up? In truth, it was all on account of face given to Lu Changxing, the alchemy master, that the Li family sent someone to speak of a misunderstanding. Otherwise, they would have only continued to pressure the sisters into submission. In the end, they would either have to sell the shop and leave Jiuxiao Immortal City or bow their heads and admit wrong to the family. Fine, I'll accept the gift, but whether it's a misunderstanding or not is none of my concern. I am the alchemist of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion now, and I don't want any more trouble from you at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, Lu Changxing spoke up. After hearing all of this, he had a clear understanding of Li Changhe's purpose for coming. It was to see what relationship he had with the Li sisters. If there was none, perhaps a gift would have been offered in hopes he'd stay out of the family's business. If there was a good relationship, it would be a gesture of goodwill and an attempt at reconciliation. Now that he grasped the situation, Lu Changxing wasn't going to press the issue aggressively to seek justice for the sisters. After all, his relationship with the 2 wasn't so deep yet. He didn't have the leisure, time, or the inclination to handle such matters.